Oh.
David, the importance of Houston covering tonight cannot be understated because I'm 3-3 on my 7 picks. AJC, we were just talking about that. We were texting about it, and we were talking about it. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floormeister Studios. Floormeisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this Overreaction Monday. What a wild card weekend, huh? How the heck are you, Miller and Moulton? MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. I come at you live from the Steel City, where it is 30 degrees. It snowed a little bit yesterday. It was sticking, a dusting. Not expected to snow today and tonight. Should be in the upper 20s when the Steelers and the Texans wrap up wild card weekend. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How was your wild card weekend?
Spectacular. I mean, come on. What a great run of football from Thursday night through last night. Terrific games. We had a dud on Friday night, but I don't know how many people cared because I think they enjoyed watching just how damn good Indiana was. Yep. Last night's game was, it kind of put you to sleep a little bit, but the Patriots did what they needed to do. Their defense was terrific. We warned you that the Chargers were banged up and they had nothing offensively for Vrabel and the Patriots, who move on. But boy, oh boy, sign me up for that every year. That was spectacular.
Great graphic at the 2-minute warning in the Niners-Eagles game as the Eagles were driving for what they hoped was the go-ahead and winning score, in which the graphic said so far every team leading at the 2-minute warning, a wild card weekend, is lost.
Crazy. And the points that were scored wild card weekend in the fourth quarter were amazing. And, you know, David, I'll give you a lot of credit here because you've talked about this, not just this year, you've talked about this for a while, that there is a breaking point for defenses, whether it's on Saturday or Sunday. And I know they played good pro games on Saturday, but you know what I mean. But there's just a certain point in which the defense has nothing left. And that was, you know, when you get better teams and more efficient offenses, I think it becomes more apparent, and it was largely apparent this weekend, David.
The number that I came up with a few seasons ago, it's probably a handful of seasons ago now, was 50 snaps. that once a defense gets to 50 snaps, it basically doesn't have much else to offer. And that you might even have to move that number up to 45 now, but I still think it's a good number. That at 50 snaps, it's the least resistance. And you saw it where teams, once they got to the fourth quarter, man, they don't have much left for whatever the reason. They do not have much left, whether it's schematically, whether it's gas left in the tank, whatever. What they were able to do in the first 2 to 3 quarters, they are unable to do down the stretch.
And David, I don't think, and I'm not sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for a while with the college game, you thought it was a few more plays. And I think one of the things we're noticing with the college game is with the portal and the lack of stacking talent, the way Bama did for so many years, you're not just able to put out fresh bodies in the fourth quarter. So what's happened on Sunday for a while is now happening with the college game as well.
And while we're at it, if we're going to give Miller and or Moulton credit, how many of you didn't believe in taking the points before Wild Card Weekend and now are big fans of kick the damn field goal, especially in the first half? You've got to be kidding me. I mean, I hope this changes things. And you know what? And I'm sorry, Bears fans, don't take this the wrong way. Your coach was reckless. Your coach was awful Saturday night and didn't deserve to win the game. The gift that Matt LaFleur and the Packers gave Ben Johnson and the Bears is maybe the greatest gift of his career. That was the worst job of game management that I've maybe ever seen in a playoff situation, and he gets rewarded for it. I mean, how many times were you left screaming at the TV in the first 3+ quarters of that game? Take the points or punt the ball or whatever. I mean, they went for it on a 4th and 5 on like their own 40. What the hell?
That was the one that I really shook my head because, David, I guess I have become numb to going for it on 4th and 2 or shorter. But when it's 4th and 5, 4th and 6, and coaches feel that they have to go for it early in football games, it makes no sense.
And I was rooting for the Jags yesterday because, they don't have many seasons like this. But when Liam Cohen passed up the field goal up 7-3 mid-second quarter, 4th and 2.
7-3. Up 7-3. Not down. That shouldn't matter anyhow, but up 7-3.
I just put my head down and I said, oh, man. Oh, this is going to come back and bite you, and you deserve it. And you deserve it. And it did. And they deserved it. Asinine. Listen, I said it about Harbaugh last night. They get the interception, 1st and goal at the 10. They try to run Herbert 3 different times. 3 different times. They end up running Herbert. They could only get to the 2. Not inside the 2, by the way. They could only get to the 2. Well, they can't run it in from there. Everybody knows that. Now they got to pass it. They don't have a single guy on the field who can win a one-on-one matchup. Patriots have terrific corners. This play ain't going to work.
Maybe right now, maybe the best in the tournament. And I'm not trying to take a shot at Denver because theirs are pretty good too. But the Patriots D-backs, they have 3 of them. They're all really good.
Yeah, I mean, that play ain't going to work. It's not going to work. Kick the field goal. Get some points out of it. Take the lead in a game in which there aren't going to be a lot of points. So, yeah, I mean, literally from that moment on, I'm like, well, Patriots got to win this. He's got to be taught a lesson. Felt the same way, about I hated to do it. But that field goal, tell me that field goal wasn't looming as you're all watching that game for 2 hours. Tell me for 2 hours. They're down 10-7 at the half. How many of you said, well, it should be 10-10? Okay. They take the lead early fourth quarter, 17-13. How many of you said they should be up a touchdown? Because a 4-point lead's not going to do you any good against Josh Allen. And it didn't, because he's Superman. By the way, they won first and goal inside the 1. Jacksonville out of timeouts. I would have taken a knee.
David, you texted to me, and the play happened before I could text it to you. I said it out loud. I said I'd just dive into the line of scrimmage and not score. I don't want to lose. I don't want to lose yardage by taking a knee. I would have just kind of leaned forward and fell.
And the reason I would have done it is he's not a normal field goal kicker. He's made a 67 and a 68-yarder this year. Okay? And, yeah, he missed a 54-yarder. He hit the upright halfway up. I mean, you get near midfield, they got a chance to tie the game with that field goal. And that's why if I'm Buffalo, when he scored, I'm like, oh, wow, minute to go. 20 yards, they might be able to tie this. But they get away with it.
But despite our complaining of not kicking field goals and going for it did not take away from what was a spectacular wild card weekend.
Drama. We had drama everywhere.
And because of the drama that we had, and depending on what happens tonight, there's even more drama for the week. Because the repercussions of the losses in Philadelphia and Green Bay, well, what are they going to lead to?
They're going to lead to changes, Mark.
But where? That's the question. How high up? Is it time for a new head coach in Philadelphia? Is it time for a new coach in Green Bay? We shall see. But that's already out there. So, wild card weekend brought a lot of joy to a lot of fan bases and a lot of questions to others. I really don't want LaFleur out in Green Bay because I want he and Ben Johnson to have to play at least 2 more times for the rest of time.
Just for the very awkward post-game handshake?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are the things I live for. We'll go to Green Bay today on the show. Talk with Doug Russell about what he thinks is going to happen. Adam Schefter reporting major changes. And Nick Sirianni, what happens in Philadelphia? David already won his over-under. We're already at 8.
Yeah, we could get double digits.
Yes, we could.
We could get to double digits. We might hit the over-under, not counting the 2 firings during the season.
Bingo.
We may hit the postseason over-under of 7.5. Yeah. Unbelievable. These games have consequences.
And
do they ever?
Stability in a franchise, to me, is important. To NFL owners, it doesn't seem to matter a damn bit.
Not now. Not now. I think we've had 24 coaches fired in the last 3 off seasons, and the number could go up. And there are multiple teams that are on that list twice. Miller and Moulton. Thanks so much for listening on an Overreaction Monday.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Oh, it was fine. I mean, whatever. The national media, that was cute. It was nice. National media members are bashing it. I've seen so many of them repost it. Who's bashed it? I only saw it because Schefter reposted it. The woman who gave Liam all the nice praise there. He said, the guy in the Twitch chat room says, national media is bashing it. I've not seen it bashed, but it surely could have been. I'm not saying you're wrong. I've just not seen it bashed.
I've seen it bashed. It was 20 seconds, though. I think she's covered Jacksonville and the team for 20 years. So she got some mulligan. What harm did it really do? Happened at about 4:30, 4:45. Didn't cost anybody any deadline time.
And she'll probably get a good one-on-one out of the deal in the offseason. And by the way, the national media won't be back to cover Jacksonville again unless they make the playoffs next year, because they don't care.
That was the first time Nance, Romo, and Wolfson had been to Jacksonville in 8 years, since they did the Jacksonville-Buffalo playoff game 8 years earlier.
Which means Romo wasn't even there, right?
It was his first year.
Oh, was it? Okay.
It was the
Boy,
2017 season.
I mean, you talk about a cosmic fall. I mean, a guy who went up he took that, like when you're at a really big office building and they have the express elevators that take you up to the top floors. He was on that the first year, and he has just been on a steady decline ever since. I mean, people live to bash him.
Well, it was not good. He seems unprepared to me. It was kind of like, Herb Street didn't know half the players' names Saturday night.
Ryan, I have no comment on that because the station that airs us in this market is soon to be owned by that group.
Yeah. We got to sit this one out. DC, if you think he did better yesterday, you're the only one. He got absolutely destroyed.
Everywhere. He was let go, Puck. And people are not happy.
Newt Gingrich went to
Tweeted
X.
about Newt Gingrich. And who was
Newt?
the other national? She was a weather person, but the one that Washington, I mean, it's turned into a big deal.
And the owner of the TV station's running for Congress. His opponent in the congressional race is now using it against him.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks for waking up with us, Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. 5 wildcard games in the books. 1 more to go. 14 hours from now. Texans and Steelers. It's an interesting phenomenon to this game. And I'm not saying it because I'm in Pittsburgh and I have to work the game. So the Texans have been around over 20 years. They've never won a road playoff game. Oh, okay. Now, they've never been expected to either. I mean, they've been an underdog in every one of those games on the road. Mike Tomlin has never lost at home on Monday Night Football. Do we consider this Monday Night Football or no?
Well, I mean, all right, couple of questions there. The obvious one. What day is today and what time is the game?
It's Monday and it's in the evening.
Okay, that's the first one. Secondly, and you may not know this yet, but I think you do, since you're part of the broadcast. When the game comes on the air and the open runs, is it the Monday Night Football Open?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you know that because you don't pay attention, first of all.
Well, hold on. We haven't had a production meeting
right,
yet.
I was right. That's the other thing.
Right.
You have your meeting after the show.
But they do actually show the open with Snoop Dogg and the country singer. They do show us that in the production meeting. And usually shortly before that, they run the dun-dun-dun-dun, which I will say, they play it in the stadium. And, we've talked about by now, us as fans, we don't care what network the game's on. What time? We don't. Just tell us what it is. I mean, yes, it bothers a few people that some of these games are on a streaming service. It's. Hey.
I didn't get any blowback. I didn't see any blowback about Saturday night's game on Prime. Now, when games have been on, when they put the game on Peacock there, that's a little different. Not everybody has Peacock. Even the Netflix Friday game, not everybody has Netflix. And I know not everyone has Prime, although I don't know anybody that doesn't.
So, there are some that are complaining about playoff games on a streaming service. Okay, but that's just, when they put that Chiefs Dolphins game on Peacock 2 seasons ago, you knew that was the future. But yeah, when they play that open, stadiums go crazy. It's like, wow.
But it's nostalgia. For those of us that are in our 50s, it brings back childhood memories. I mean,
Yeah,
and
it does.
we watch the games, largely we watch games with friends and family. So you pass some of that down.
But, I don't get that sense with the Sunday Night Football theme or when CBS plays their theme or what have you, but whatever. That Monday Night Football theme, the crowd every week in the stadium goes nuts.
But the only thing I would compare it to is when the SEC lost the CBS music.
Right.
No, but I mean, if you think about it, Monday Night Football's music, the SEC on CBS that left when CBS no longer had the SEC.
Right.
And to those of us of a certain age, because it doesn't show anymore, the Wild World of Sports theme and the Olympic theme. And come on, we're getting a lot of it on CBS right now. The Masters theme.
Yeah. So the Steelers have lost their last 6 playoff games. Texans have won 9 games in a row. Something has to give tonight. Do the Texans win their first ever road playoff game? Does Tomlin finally lose on Monday Night Football? Does Tomlin ride off into the Pittsburgh sunset with Aaron Rodgers if they lose? What we do know is winner of the game goes to Foxborough. Winner tonight faces the Patriots, and they face them on Sunday, and probably Sunday evening. The networks have not yet been assigned, but the days and kind of sort of the times have been as to the divisional round, who's playing who, where, and when. So if we can go back to Friday. Holy smackers.
Wait a minute. Oregon just turned it over again.
Well, they did, and that's a problem. It's difficult to beat anybody if you turn it over. Never mind the best team in the country. But holy smackers. Holy guacamole. I mean, what's the word we want to use about Friday night? I mean, at halftime of the Indiana-Oregon game, Alabama was feeling better about themselves.
That was a whooping.
Woo-wee.
Like we've not seen before. I mean,
Well,
Dan Lanning's never seen it. He's been coaching Oregon a while. He ain't ever got his ass kicked like that.
Although some Ohio State fans will say in the quarters last year we had a pretty good halftime lead too. But yeah, woo-wee. Well, and Mark, let's face it, this is the type of game we've gotten against, Oregon James Madison or somebody like that, in which everybody goes, oh, you can't have the little guys in the field. Well, how about Oregon? Can we have them in the field? In a semi? Damn. I mean, I think that's the worst beatdown since Georgia did it to TCU for the Natty 3 years ago. I mean, my goodness.
So, unfortunately for me, not unfortunately, just this is my life on Friday. My daughter has gymnastics. It ends at 8. The wife and I went and picked up a pizza. And right next to the pizza joint is a restaurant that we also frequent. So we ordered the pizza, walked to the restaurant, and had a drink while we waited for the pizza. And they had the game on. And so I'm watching the pregame, and I see the kick, and it's time to go pick up the pizza and walk to the car. I get in the car, and I turn the game on, and it's 7-0.
Yes, it is.
And I missed one play.
Yeah,
I saw the kick. I saw the kick.
Right. You knew that the game started with Oregon having the ball.
Right. And now
Right.
Oregon's got I'm in the car. Oregon's got the ball again, and they're down 7-0. I'm like, what?
Uh-huh. Yep. Indiana's an 8-point favorite in some places. I've seen 7. I've seen 7.5. I've seen 8.
Now, Hard Rock, which is the bet app that we have legally here in Florida, it opened at 7.5. I checked this morning before the show. It is still at 7.5, and I'm a bit surprised because I thought it might jump a full point, and I could see this sucker going to 9 before kick.
And I don't see the cost of admission going down either.
No.
And it's over 4,000 right now. It's over 4,000.
I sent you a fun post yesterday. Uncle Luke. If you're a Miami fan or if you're of our age, y'all know who Uncle Luke from 2 Live Crew is. His love of Miami. Hell, he was the bag man back in the day.
Yep.
And still involved heavily in youth football in South Florida. And he sent out a post. Don't call, don't text, don't ask. I don't have tickets.
Yep. You take care of your own stuff. Leave me alone. When Mark Cuban, an IU grad, is taking to X to go, hey, does anybody know how to get their hands on tickets? That's a week from tonight, by the way. I'll be damned.
Indiana, the favorite to win the college football national title. Wow. Miller and Moulton, it's an overreaction Monday. We'll break down Wild Card Weekend, get ready for Monday Night Football, but the starting 5, that's next. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs and has been for 30 years. American Paint Supplies is also your #1 Festool dealer in Southwest Florida. If you are a builder, cabinet maker, painter, or power tool enthusiast, Festool craftsmanship can be found at American Paint Supplies. Celebrating 30 years of service, and Festool is celebrating 100 years of excellence. Come to American Paint Supply for a perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street, Naples, off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Do we want to go with the Dolphins coach? How good of a job is it, for a poll question? Or do we want to pause that with everything going on and do something different today. Doesn't really fit with what we'll talk about on the show at all. But that doesn't really matter. No, DC, you can't be an alumni of a school without a degree, technically.
Would you fire, ? A, Matt LaFleur, B, Nick Sirianni, C, neither, D, both?
I like that one better.
Yeah, a few people are nominating. Do we go with biggest surprise from Wild Card Weekend? Bears fans. Adam, you're going to have to help me out. What's the tree? I mean, besides Dennis Allen, what's the tree? RCB? The Eagles nearly fired him 2 years ago today.
RCB, I think he gets fired. Like I on this vote, I'll vote both or Sirianni. I will not vote neither.
No doubt, fam. No doubt.
I'm sorry. The biggest surprise of Wild Card Weekend, besides the Niners winning, what else am I putting up there? The Panthers keeping it close? I mean, not being a jerk. I just don't think that we had 2 1-point spreads.
Yeah, I guess it's the Bills, the Bears were a slight favorite, but they were down 21-3.
1.5, right.
Yeah.
I got the other one up. I like the other one. I like it a lot, David. Matter of fact.
Adam, that's Sirianni's tree. That's not Peyton's tree.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Doug Russell will join us from Wisconsin. He's part of the Packers Radio Network. What a loss. What a collapse. Matt LaFleur, this decade, has got some bad playoff moments, and he's entering the final year of his contract. Now's the time that you get an extension or you get fired. What do you think the Packers are going to do? Doug Russell, talk Green Bay in as tough a playoff loss as they've had probably since they blew that NFC Championship game to Seattle 11 years ago, and they had that double-digit lead late and screwed it up and didn't recover an onside kick. And
that's
anyway.
the crux of our poll question. Would you fire Nick Sirianni and or Matt LaFleur? Sirianni, LaFleur, neither, both. Those are your choices. That Mark Miller, soon to be reposted by the David Moulton. And, of course, it's at Miller_Moulton on X. The Pelican Roofing of text line, as always, is open. 21,000 is the number, 21,000. If you've never texted the line before, you need to text the keyword Miller. If you've sent a bunch of texts recently, but you hadn't done it in a while and I don't respond, it means you might be sending them to Michigan. So I would advise you to just send Miller to 21,000 once to make sure it's not going to our old text line.
Time now for
The Starting Five. 5 big stories you need to know. Here is The Starting Five.
brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through BST. It's a tried and true formula, and it continues to work. BST, business, sports, and tourism. NFL dominated the weekend. We'll start in Jacksonville, where the Bills get their first road playoff win in 33 years. Josh Allen led Buffalo on 2 fourth-quarter touchdown drives when trailing. He scored the game-winning 1-yard touchdown run with 1:04 to go. The Bills beat the Jags 27-24. Trevor was kind of all over the place. 2 TDs, 2 interceptions. He did, however, lead Jacksonville on 3 consecutive second-half scoring drives, a field goal and 2 touchdowns. It would be enough to beat most teams and most teams' quarterbacks. But remember, Buffalo's got Superman. The Jags passed on a 27-yard field goal on 4th and 2 in the second quarter when they had a 7-3 lead. They came up inches short on the conversion, never got the points, and lost 27-24. Not that they'll be talking about that in Duval for the offseason or anything. And I know the whole, well, he's coached that way all year. Yeah, it's the playoffs.
And you were leading.
Yeah. In Philadelphia, give it up for the Niners. My goodness. To call them a MASH unit is to underplay a MASH unit.
Yeah, I know yesterday's game, David, has nothing to do with regular season awards, but you and I talked about it leading up to the week, that he's not even seemingly on the list for Coach of the Year.
He was going into Week 18 against Seattle, and I think if the Niners had won and they would have been the 1 seed in the NFC, I think he wins it, actually. But then because of it, I think they're going to go in a different direction. But we said it before that game, Mark. We said nobody's done a better job than Kyle Shanahan. Nobody.
Some have done as well. You want to say Liam Cohen, you want to say Vrabel. There are plenty of others you can talk about. Ben Johnson, we get it. But we just think it was understated, the job that's been done this year in San Francisco by Shanahan.
I mean, Vrabel's going to win the award. But nobody did a better job than Shanahan in San Francisco. And he pulled out a play that they literally hadn't run in 7 years. The wide receiver trick play, Jawan Jennings to Christian McCaffrey touchdown. 7 years ago was the last time they ran that play. Niners upset the Eagles 23-19. Kittle lost for the season, probably will linger into next year. Tore his Achilles. Did you see Diana Rossini's in-game report on X?
No.
A bottle of tequila has just made its way into the Niners locker room. This was like late third quarter. And she then just put, I'm pretty sure it's for Kittle.
Loved Kittle recognizing Bob Ware from the dead. That was one of my favorite moments of the entire weekend.
Purdy with 262 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. McCaffrey had 114 total yards of offense. Saquon did rush for over 100 yards, and Goddard scored twice. But the Eagles had San Francisco on the ropes throughout the third quarter and didn't put them away. And the Niners said, we'll take it from here.
They had 4 drops in the game, the Eagles receivers. They were all on third down, every one of them.
A.J. Brown's drop late, the biggest one.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, he's not going to be an Eagle next year.
No.
I don't even think if they get rid of Sirianni, he's going to be an Eagle next year. My prediction is he ends up in New England. That him and Vrabel are tight, and they're not missing much, but that could put them over the hump. Heck, they might get over the hump this year. But I think A.J. Brown's played his last snap in Philadelphia. Niners will face Seattle next. Speaking of the Patriots, they dominated the Chargers, held them to 207 total yards. L.A. was 1 for 10 on third down. Patriots' first playoff win in 7 years since they won the Super Bowl with Brady. It was a 6-3 game at the half. Drake May had a good second half. He looked like a rookie quarterback, even though he was a second-year quarterback. He looked like an inexperienced quarterback in the first half. Second half, he looked like the guy in the regular season who's going to finish second in the MVP race. He threw a 28-yard touchdown pass to Hunter Henry mid-fourth to put the game away. 16-3 New England. They'll be at home next week. They'll face the winner of tonight's Houston-Pittsburgh playoff game. Texans, Mark, I've seen it bet down to 2.5 in spots. For the most part, it's been 3. Houston, a road favorite. Over-under of 38.5. So give or take a half a point or a point even. This has got 21-17 written all over it, and I don't know if the winner gets to 21. Texans have never won a road playoff game. Pittsburgh's lost their last 6 playoff games. Tomlin's never lost on Monday Night Football at home, by the way. And the Texans enter the playoffs with the league's longest winning streak at 9 in a row. The matchups are set for next week. Saturday's games, Denver will host the Bills. It looks like that's the early game. Seattle will host the Niners. San Francisco getting the short straw, that they get the short week. So the 1 seeds at home on Saturday. Sunday looks like the early Sunday game, which will probably be around 3 o'clock. Bears hosting the Rams. LA already a slight favorite. And Patriots hosting the winner of tonight's game. So that's divisional round weekend. As of the start of this show, they had not assigned which networks were televising what. Quickly, NHL. Stamkos scored, number 601. Ovechkin scored, number 917. Preds over the Caps 3-2. Winnipeg, they're playing better hockey of late. Still have the worst record in the league. Beat Jersey 4-3. Korpisalo with 27 saves. His first shutout for the Bruins this year. They beat the Penguins 1-0. Vegas over San Jose 7-2. And Columbus in overtime beat Utah 3-2. Lots of games in the NBA. I don't know why they play so many games on Sunday, but they do. Have they heard of this NFL thing? No. Orlando was down 7 going to the 4th. They rallied to beat the Pelicans 128-118.
Yeah, you can't lose that one if you're Orlando at home. They needed to come back.
The Heat lost at Oklahoma City 124-112. This is how bad the officiating has gotten against Oklahoma City. There was a play where I think it was SGA, but maybe it was somebody else. He catches the ball on the fast break on the wing. He drives to the basket. All right, Bam Adebayo goes to challenge him. He does not touch him. No, that's not my opinion. Video proof. He does not touch him in any way. A foul was called. B, the Heat challenged the foul, and the foul was upheld. I challenge anybody to take a look at the play and tell me whether or not Bam Adebayo made any contact with the Thunder player driving to the basket who scored the layup. And I mean any contact anywhere. The league is freaking out about the whistle that the Oklahoma City Thunder are getting. Freaking out. The Golden State Warriors threw an in-game tantrum a few days ago by all the calls that Oklahoma City gets in a game. I don't know if this is going to get corrected or whatever the reason is. But, the thought is, the Lakers get the calls or the Celtics get the calls or, a marquee franchise. And I know they just won the title. But anyway, the rest of the league's got a real problem with the whistle that Oklahoma City's getting. They beat the Heat by 12, SGA with 29. Knicks rallied, snapped Portland's 5-game winning streak. They won in Portland 123-114. Scotty Barnes hit a game-winning free throw late in overtime. Toronto 116-115 over Philly. Anthony Edwards with the game-winning bucket with 17 seconds to go. T-Wolves came from 19 down and beat the Spurs 104-103. By the way, beautiful play late in the game. Edwards on a switch ends up one-on-one on Wemby and schools him. Okay? And he kind of looked at him like, we all know you're going to be a superstar, but some of us can still play too.
Yeah, you don't have my quickness.
And he used another, defender, and it was brilliant to see. Memphis 103-98 over Brooklyn. Nuggets have won 3 of 4. They beat Milwaukee 108-104. Phoenix handled Washington 112-93. Trae Young yet to play for the Wizards. Atlanta has won 3 in a row. They don't miss Trae Young at all. They beat Golden State 124-111. And Sacramento 111-98 over Houston, just the Kings' 9th win of the year. College hoops yesterday, UCF still in the rankings for now. They won't be when the rankings change in about 6 hours. But 25th ranked UCF at home at Cincinnati, 73-72. A good Big Ten matchup, pair of ranked teams. Illinois won in Iowa, 75-69. UAB over East Carolina, 87-85. Hey, we gave Doug Gottlieb a hard time last year. He and they were awful. He and they are pretty good this year. And he said to everybody, get your shots in because we're building something here. They've won 5 in a row. They're in second place in their conference. They beat Northern Kentucky 80-78. Good for him. Good for them. Women's hoops. LSU. Kim Mulkey's biggest SEC win ever since she's come to LSU. Handed second-ranked Texas their first loss of the year, 70-65. By the way, if you're a women's basketball coach, Mark, the road trip that Texas has is at LSU and at South Carolina.
Your combined points that you're an underdog by about 50 between the two games?
Well, and you're the undefeated second-ranked team in the country.
Yeah, I know.
And do you think the league doesn't like you? I mean, damn. So it's 7 minutes before the hour. That was the starting 5. 5 big stories you need to know, brought to you by Lee County, Florida. Building a better community through BST, business, sports, and tourism.
For those of you that like to gamble, the Miller and Moulton College basketball system had a bunch of plays on Saturday. It went 3-3 for what it's worth. Couple of close games we lost. South Carolina had a shot to cover against Georgia. They didn't. There was another couple of close ones, but 3-3, 18-13 on the season.
Spring training is a big win for Lee County. Beginning next month, we will proudly host the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins right here in Southwest Florida. It's more than great baseball. It's jobs, visitors, and $69 million in tourism impact for our local economy. Get your tickets at redsox.com and twins.com. Be part of something that strengthens our community. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
The Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This was coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
This is Miller and Moulton.
DC, you really, and I love me my diva wide receivers. You really want Ja Morant? You think Ja Morant, Anthony Edwards would work well? I don't. I don't think it would. Also, your coach is a hard ass, and he needs. I mean, like his team plays for him. They respect him. AE respects him, and he gets in his grill. I don't think Ja Morant's a good fit for the T-Wolves. I think that would
doesn't like to be coached.
Yeah, I think that would implode. Now, see, for the Heat, it's worth the gamble because they're a middle-of-the-road team, and they probably don't have to give up much, and it'd be worth a shot.
Tim, it
Right.
lasted like 2 days, and they settled. And I have to be honest, I didn't pay attention to – I know what the offer was from the league, and I don't know if that's what the players accepted. And, there's an article in The Athletic, and I never even bothered to read it.
It's like a 20% raise, and their
Days
travel.
off for travel.
Yeah, the travel.
That was their big bitch. Like a team like the Everblades, will travel all night after a game, and that's their day off. And then the next day they have to practice, and they want more days off. I mean, it's the end of it's the end of working hard. Athletes at all levels now don't think that they have to practice.
Got to remember, WESR, we broadcast in more places than just Southwest Florida.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton. On this Overreaction Monday, 5 of the 6 wild card playoff games have come and gone. Houston at Pittsburgh tonight. Winner goes to New England. As we're just about through to the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. The national championship game is set a week from tonight. Miami at home, a big underdog. A big underdog. And the Indiana Hoosiers have a chance in the 50th anniversary season of Bobby Knight's undefeated basketball team, the last undefeated men's basketball champion. 50 years later, they have a chance to be the undefeated football champion. And I think a team that would be remembered historically if they can pull it off.
Oh, yeah. For so many different reasons, David. One thing about the team that I think has gone largely untalked about. And again, what Signetti's doing, I've only said it all year long. It's the greatest hire this century. It's one of the greatest hires in the history of coaching. It is. And the Mendoza story is fantastic. He seems like the genuine article. And he can play, by the way. But his receivers do not, to me, get the credit they deserve. His receivers catch flipping everything. Yeah, he puts it in the right spot, but I mean, going back to the Penn State game, some of the catches even against Oregon, and I know that game was a blowout, but man, are his receivers good. And we don't talk about them. We talk about the defense. We talk about Mendoza. We talk about Signetti. I just don't think the receivers get their due. And Miami's defense is really good. So will that continue in the Natty a week from tonight? But that's that's if there's one thing, it's not really a complaint, but it's just to me, having watched a few Indiana games, you've covered a few Indiana games this year, and looking at that team, I think the receivers don't get the credit that they deserve.
I don't know if there's much left with the team that doesn't get the credit that they deserve, Mark, but it's very possible. It is very possible. They deserve it all. They absolutely, positively deserve it all. They lost twice last year. They lost to the two teams who played for the national championship, both on the road. And they haven't lost this year. And they've destroyed Alabama and Oregon in the playoffs. Destroyed. If they do that to Miami, at Miami, they'll go down. They have a chance to go down historically as the top 10 team of all time.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up because someone texted me, and you're way better at this than I would ever want to be brutally honest. Your memory is like something I can't even imagine. If they win, where are we putting this team? Just, in this century, David. Skip going back to last century. The LSU team that was just unbelievable, this Indiana team.
Boy, it's so different. But, yeah, I mean, pick Nick's best team. Do you think it was the 2009 team? Do you think it was the 2020 team? I mean, pick which Knicks team you think was their best. And then, 2019 LSU, which was the greatest offensive college football team this century. But, the defense was okay. I mean, you get to the early part, the 01 Canes, Mark, I've said this, 95 Nebraska, 01 Miami. I think the two best teams of the last 50 years.
And when you look at that Miami team and who was on it and then what they would go on to do, it's utterly ridiculous. I mean, there's a lot of gold jackets on that team, David.
There were gold jackets who were backups.
Right.
On that team. Yeah.
And this Indiana team doesn't appear to have, there are a bunch of 2 and 3 stars for crying out loud.
Yeah, there are a few 4, but yes, but the way they got there also. Yeah, I mean, there's also this. Would we consider this team to be like the first portal champion, even though the portal's been around, 3-4 years now? But, the Georgia teams that went back to back were home built. I mean, do we consider possible you consider last year's Ohio State team a portal team?
I don't, though, because there's too many homegrown on that. There's portal guys.
Yeah, like they brought in a quarterback. They did.
Right.
Okay, but yes, but the team didn't feel like the guts of it was brought in through the portal. The Michigan team, obviously, they stayed together for 3 years. They took 3 cracks at it. They finally won. This would feel like the first portal champion.
Yeah, I think that's an accurate call. By the way, if you're looking to go, I'd jump online now because I've seen now the lowest ticket price since this game has been announced online. You can actually get a pair of tickets for under $3,000 per ticket.
Really?
Almost $2,900 for somebody who must have put them up cheap. The best price, end zone upstairs, row 16, $28.82 a ticket.
Wow. That's $1,000 cheaper than anything I've seen.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Not a bunch. There's a handful of tickets that are under $3,500.
Wow. All right. Maybe it's going down. By the way, Indiana claims that they have the most living alumni of
and it's not close.
Wow.
It's not close. Penn State's actually next. I saw someone post it, and I went and looked it up to make sure.
That seems remarkable.
Because I thought for the longest time it was Michigan.
Well,
But
yeah, and then you start getting into, how big of an undergrad class do you have? But yeah, IU claims to have the most living alumni in the country. And I think
Indiana has 805,000 living alumni. Penn
wow.
State is next at just over 800,000. Those two are close. Michigan is third. UCLA fourth. The Buckeyes, Texas, Purdue, and A&M are all really close.
So Hard Rock's a smaller stadium than other places that hold the national championship. This might be something they have to take into consideration going forward. Usually schools get between 16,000 and 20,000 tickets. I know someone who's married to someone who works in the University of Miami athletic department. And so I reached out to him and I said, so what's the deal with tickets? And he said, okay, here it goes. 12,000 tickets got allocated to each school, and that's all in. That includes the band, the player pass list, staff. It all comes out of the 12,000. So yeah, okay. He said it sounds like about 3,000 to 5,000 Miami boosters can be taken care of. That's it. Okay. Season ticket holders who get priority access, little under $1,000 a ticket is what they have to pay. That's just, sticker price. Okay. You ready? Mark, and I don't know if I told you this. Suite. You want a suite for the game? Cheapest suite. What do you think it goes for?
I have no idea how many tickets are in a suite because I've turned down suite tickets now 3 times to Dolphins games in the last year.
Let's just say it's got to be 12. It could be as many as 20, but let's just say it's around a dozen.
I'd say minimum of $100,000.
120 is the cheapest suite.
That sounds about right.
Most expensive suite right now, $1.4 million.
Yeah, it turns out, because if you've heard me talk about these tickets, I have a friend, and he has a friend. His friend is a big fan of our show. His friend has a suite for Dolphins games. So I reached out to my friend last week with a fun text and said, by the way, I'm available for the Natty.
That was nice of you.
Right. And his buddy, who has the Dolphins suite, gets tickets for the Dolphins game. He did not purchase. He has the opportunity to buy tickets for other events. He did not buy the tickets for the national championship. Which, what's the matter with you? If you're listening right now, really?
Listen, we would have chipped in and bought them just to resell them. Speaking of which,
he does not have the suite tickets, so I'm SOL. It is what it is. I'll be on the couch
of which,
every game.
Did you see what they're doing in Seattle? Did you see? So, obviously, Seahawks fans, if you're a season ticket holder, you got first dibs on playoff tickets, and I'm guessing most everybody bought their playoff tickets. Well, some of them are reselling them. The Seahawks have sent them an email that says, by the way, we're keeping track of the tickets that are being sold on the secondary market. And if we find out you sold your tickets to someone who's not a Seahawks fan, we're going to take your season tickets away from you.
That's crap.
I think it's illegal. I don't understand. I purchased these tickets. They're not your tickets. You put them up for sale. I bought them. Okay. Do you know how much money it costs to buy these tickets? And I don't just mean the playoff tickets. Okay. I got to buy. And they're going to say, well, you don't have to. But I'm sorry. The amount of money that I spend as a season ticket holder, never mind if there's any PSL involved with Seahawks tickets.
I will say this isn't the first time I've heard of something like that. There are a lot of teams out there that claim, at least, David, that they watch the secondary market to make sure people are not just selling all of their tickets. Now, I don't know anybody who's lost tickets, or I've not heard stories of people who have lost tickets for that. But I wonder if it would be different if they weren't playing the Niners. Like, seriously. You know
Well,
what I
but
mean?
they said they didn't know this. They didn't know who they were playing. They said this during the week. All right. I think it's crap. Crap, I tell you. Crap. Miller and Moulton.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow & Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow & Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow & Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie, John, and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
By the way, Michael, you better go bet your Broncos, because I don't know if you're aware, but I know they're the greatest team that's ever played football, and we should just give them the Super Bowl. But in Las Vegas, the Bills are favored over your Broncos.
Listen, I don't think the Chargers were beating the Patriots. Okay. They didn't have enough weaponry. But at the end of the first half, when Herbert got hit in the head on the sack, that should have been a 15-yard penalty on New England. That would have put the ball at midfield. And the Chargers would have had time and timeouts to potentially get in field goal range, and they have an excellent kicker. But also, remember, that led to a sack. New England calls timeout. They stop them on the next play. They call timeout. They end up getting a field goal before the end of the half. They ain't getting that field goal if the officials call that 15-yard penalty. So it could have been 6-3 LA. It ends up 6-3 New England. Does it make a
Or
difference?
it could have just been 3-3 for that. I mean,
Right.
the
But-
way they're moving the ball, the likelihood is 3-3.
And the Chargers, I don't think are winning, but that was a huge call that they missed there. Huge call. Also, by the way, some of the spots, I don't get it. We got a chip in the ball now.
I thought they did a great job talking about the one in was it the Eagles game when there was one of the games where they were like both. Yeah, it was because Brady's like they didn't. Both officials ran out short of the line, and then they spotted it like a foot further.
Same thing happened in the Chargers-Patriots game. Both officials came in and said Herbert was short.
Right.
And then they said that the ball got to the mark. There was no video evidence at all of him getting to the line to gain. But by the way, how about late in that Jags-Bills game? That Bills receiver wasn't close to getting to the line to gain. And they were going to give him the first down until Cohen had to challenge it. And they only moved it back a few inches. It should have been like 4th and 2 feet. Instead, it was like 4th and 2 inches. Now, of course, Josh Allen on the quarterback sneak. Bills fans are going, where the hell was that against Kansas City last year? Well, this is worst. This is the worst draw for Denver. I mean, you didn't want Josh Allen. I mean, this is like, quite frankly, what teams in the 80s and 90s had to deal with. You didn't want to see Elway. And we're like, oh, man.
And by the way, Michael, I'm with you. I wouldn't even bother taking the short points. I'd take the money line. If you're going to bet it, bet the money line.
Yeah.
I think that's the best value bet, I guess is the way I would say it. Here we go.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Doug Russell, part of the Packers Radio Network. He'll join us next hour. Matt LaFleur going to lose his job. Horrific playoff loss. They ended the season with 5 straight losses. He's entering the final year of his contract. What's Green Bay going to do? What's Philadelphia going to do? I mean, it seems absurd to fire Nick Sirianni. He's made the playoffs every year he's been a coach. They've gone to the Super Bowl twice. They won it once. And I don't know if a coach has a better record the last 5 years than Nick Sirianni. But
they hate him. I mean, have you ever seen a fan base have more success and hate their coach as much as the Eagles fans seem to hate Nick Sirianni? And I know we've got a couple in our chat room who defend him, and good for you. You should, based on what David just pointed out. And, I'm in a couple of group texts, and I think I know why. Because one of my buddies literally wants to fight Sirianni. Like, would love to be in a steel cage match with Nick Sirianni. I mean, the words he uses are like punk and other ones I can't say on air. But basically that he's punk, that he's just a jerk. And the facial expressions and the way he acts as if he's a player, not a coach.
there are a lot of Eagles fans who feel that the team is achieving the success that they've achieved in the last 5 years in spite of him, that he's holding them back. They should be even better than they are. Don't know if that's true. Here's all I do know. They went to the Super Bowl 3 seasons ago. 2 seasons ago, they were 10-1 and then lost, what was it? 5 of their last 6 and got humiliated in the playoffs by Tampa Bay. And he nearly lost his job. He'd been there 3 years, made the playoffs 3 times, went to a Super Bowl, lost on a last-second kick. And Howie Roseman nearly fired him and nearly hired Belichick, by the way. And so now, 2 years later, he wins the Super Bowl and then comes back and goes out quietly in a game in which, listen, they were significant favorites. They were what? Second biggest favorite on the board?
Yep.
This weekend?
Yeah, Rams were the first, and then the Eagles, because every other game was basically a field goal or less.
And also, they did something they hadn't done under Sirianni before. They lost a home playoff game. So, Howie Roseman runs that organization, and he runs it with an iron fist. I mean, there's no doubt they're going to have a new offensive coordinator next year. I think there's no doubt they're going to trade A.J. Brown. The question is whether or not they're going to have a new head coach.
So that's our poll question today. Would you fire Nick Sirianni and or Matt LaFleur? Right now, both is winning. A third of you say both, for the record. 26% of you say LaFleur, 23% say neither, and the rest for Sirianni. I'll ask you this, David. If one or both get fired, does that possibly lead to more firings, if you know what I mean? Because if you're a good team, you haven't fired your coach yet, do you think either of these two is an upgrade to what you have currently? I mean, do we even get more movement?
Well, the Matt LaFleur situation is interesting, if for no other team than the Dolphins. Remember, the Dolphins just hired the vice president of personnel from the Packers. So if Matt LaFleur suddenly becomes available, does Matt LaFleur jump to the top of the Dolphins coaching search? I mean, they're supposedly in it with John Harbaugh, but they ain't the favorite. In fact, I don't know if they're better than third. And here's the other thing. If Matt LaFleur gets fired, the word is John Harbaugh may want the Green Bay job over all others. Here's another thing to throw in the mix. Mark, where was John Harbaugh before the Ravens hired him? He was a special teams coach in Philadelphia. I mean, if you're John Harbaugh, you're 63 years old. You want to go somewhere and win right away. By the way, you'd make history also if you go to an NFC team and win, because no coach has won a Super Bowl with 2 different franchises. Some have come real close. They've won it with one and made it with another, but I don't believe there's a coach who's won Super Bowls with 2 different franchises. And John Harbaugh's got to be thinking, I can have the pick of the litter here. And the litter might get a lot more appealing if Green Bay and or Philadelphia open up.
No doubt. No doubt. Because let me ask you this. You love your halls of fame. John Harbaugh, Hall of Fame? At this moment in time?
Yes. I know only the one Super Bowl, but you average 10 wins a year for 18 years. I think you're going in the Hall of Fame.
Well, it's really close, though. I mean, there was hesitation in your voice.
Oh, no. Hey, listen, there's a backlog of coaches, I believe. First off,
Right.
I believe some old-timers like Dan Reeves and Marty Schottenheimer deserve in. But, I mean, Mike Shanahan's not in. He won 2. Mike Holmgren's not in. He won 1 and took Seattle to 1. I mean, we got a bunch. They've got some coaches that either they got to start putting them in or they're drawing a line and basically saying, we're putting Belichick and Andy Reid in and the rest of you know. But no, because I think Harbaugh and Tomlin's resumes are very similar. And I definitely think one's going in, so I think the other would also.
Well, I hate to say it, the one would be Tomlin then, because, David, there's this other factor. If you're a Steeler, you go to the Hall of Fame before anybody who's equal to you who does anything similar to and with another team.
No, I know. I'm surprised Frenchie Fuqua hasn't been a finalist. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Steelers do very well when it comes to Hall of Fame consideration. Now, they've had a lot of really good players, but they do very well when it comes to voting for the Hall of Fame. No question. Because, I mean, think about it with all due respect. If Cowher's in, you're not going to put Tomlin and Harbaugh in? I mean, seriously. Bill Cowher lost like 4 of 6 AFC championship games. And I think he lost them all at home.
So that's where we're at. And, you know, as David pointed out, rumor has it John Harbaugh would want the Green Bay job if it becomes available. So we'll see what the week and the next couple of days look like for LaFleur and Sirianni. But it is our poll question. Would you fire Sirianni and or LaFleur? That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. For those of you that don't subscribe to X, you can always text us your answers. 21,000 is the number of the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. 21,000, the keywords Miller, if you've never texted the show before. We did get a great text, David, on the Seattle ticket thing about, you know, they're going to scold you and take your season tickets away if you sell them on the secondary market to someone who doesn't root for Seattle. He simply said, billionaires pushing limited profitability on average Americans that are season ticket holders is satire, right? Well played, sir. Well played.
Nope, it's not. But yes, well played. Well done.
Another texter says Sirianni has the most punchable face in the NFL. I don't disagree.
And that's just Eagles fans thinking that. Never mind any other fan base. Boy, Strahan went after him pretty hard yesterday.
About the brouhaha with A.J. Brown.
Yeah.
Another Eagles fan says, I'm a lifelong Eagle fan. I'm 57. I'm okay with Nick Sirianni.
Listen, when they won the Super Bowl, I thought Doug Peterson would be there for 10, 15 years. He lasted 3 more. Nick's in trouble.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7, this is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
American Paint Supplies, celebrating 30 years in Naples, is proud to be the exclusive Farrow and Ball dealer in Southwest Florida. The best thing to come from the UK since the Beatles, Farrow and Ball has the colors and paints at American Paint Supplies. See why all the designers and painters choose Farrow and Ball. For 30 years, American Paint Supplies provides the perfect pairing of service and expertise on 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net. American Paint Supplies is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Some of them go ahead and hit like $1 billion in the box office, and they end up buying us a really nice watch. And it's not that they're better than the other kids that you have. It's just that they're the ones that you're bragging about when you're at the golf course because you love them more. With that being said, here are the nominees.
She's 56 years old now, the giant horse.
By the way, I know no one's paying attention to portal stuff because it's too hard to, but you know who had a pretty good weekend? Texas.
As in the University of?
Yeah. They got the Auburn receiver and Alabama running back commit flipped to Texas. You know, this just in. You know who's got more money than Alabama? Texas. Fam, I think you're just going to wherever you get the most money. I mean, I don't know how many spots there were for Lagway, and I don't know what the money was, but
He's going to Baylor.
no, I know that's. But
Okay.
he
I
just
wasn't-
responding.
I just
He just said, I'm shocked he's going to Baylor with all the players that are leaving. I just think you're going to wherever the most money is for the most part.
also, isn't he from Texas? So apparently Lagway's been very active trying to get guys to come with him. And I don't just mean Gator guys. I mean, apparently he's been very active on the phone with Baylor trying to get players.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour. Doug Russell, part of the Packers Radio Network, will join us 1 hour from now. The Packers, part of our poll question, Matt LaFleur, Nick Sirianni. Both have had a lot of success, one more than the other. But they both lost over the weekend.
At home. Oh, no, I'm sorry. LaFleur lost on the road. He just blew it in ways we can't even imagine.
Awful loss. And he's getting a lot, if not all, of the blame. He's entering the final year of his contract. So what would you do? Would you keep him? Would you fire him? Would you fire one, not the other? Those are the options. Sirianni and LaFleur. Keep them, fire them both, or choose which one you'd get rid of. That's our poll question. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. For the record, I kind of chickened out. I just said both are going to get fired. And I'm convinced of that.
I voted both. I'd need it. If I were in charge, I'd need a day to figure this out in either situation. But I'm kind of with David. I think both are gone. And I voted both. Vote accordingly. If you don't have X, you can always text us what you think. 21,000 is the Pelican Roofing of Florida text line. All right, I'm going to ask you a question, David.
Okay.
What team in the NFL do you think is most hated by everybody? Like
Cowboys.
Yeah, okay. And I think you're okay. Let me rephrase that. What good team is most hated by everybody?
Today?
Yeah.
Probably the Chiefs.
Probably.
There's some Chiefs fatigue out there.
But I think the Eagles are not liked. Like,
Okay.
I do not think the Philadelphia Eagles are liked across the country. And I'm not knocking Eagles fans because I'm one of those. I have no problem with the Eagles. No problem with your fan. I know who you are. You know who you are. You're comfortable with it. I'm comfortable with it.
It is interesting because the quarterback is likable. The star running back is likable. You know, they've got a couple of individual players. You know, obviously Jason Kelsey played there. I mean, I think you're right, but there are individual Eagles who are actually well liked. But yeah, maybe not the team.
And I say this, I'm going somewhere with this. So just work with me here for a second.
Okay.
Because the one thing that a lot of football fans hated about the Eagles was the play they invented, the tush push.
Uh-huh.
And it damn near got banned last year. Miller and Moulton, for the record, think it is going to get banned this offseason.
Yep.
Well, yesterday we saw arguably the best tush push in the history of tush pushes.
Oh, yeah.
It was done by the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
There's never been one that, seriously, I mean, they were 10 yards for crying out loud. It was damn near a touchdown from the 10. And I immediately got a text on one of the text chains I'm on of someone just hating that play more than anything. And I'm like, and he wants it banned. And my response to him was, that was the best tush push in the history of tush pushes. But I wholeheartedly agree with you. I don't like the play either. But what I'm wondering is how much the rest of the football world's going to have a problem with the tush push for the rest of the playoffs because Buffalo's doing it and not Philadelphia. Because, David, not only was it the best tush push I've ever seen, it was the most illegal one I've ever seen. The lineman literally picked Josh Allen up and carried him for 5 yards. This play, everything about that play should be illegal. You're not supposed to be, that should have been a penalty by the way we look at the rules, right, David?
The play was illegal. Yes. The way they carried it out was against the rules.
Right. And I did not hear anyone bring up the aiding of the runner. I hate when they push the pot, and I'm not picking on Buffalo here. I'm fine with it. I told you when I made my picks on Friday, I picked Buffalo. I was rooting for Jacksonville. I was. I just thought Buffalo was going to win. Ended up being right. Miller and Moulton, by the way, would have both either kneeled or leaned into the line on first down after they got to the 1 yard line and would not have scored there, forcing Jacksonville to use another timeout.
Well, no, they had no timeouts left.
They used their last one. I'd have taken the 40 seconds and then scored.
Correct. Exactly. And I know you run the risk of, not scoring. You run the risk of fumbling a penalty. Sure. But I was worried about the Jags kicker, who's made 2 field goals beyond 65 yards this year. I was worried about Jacksonville having a full minute to only have to go 20, 25 yards to be in field goal range. That I would have rolled the dice. I would have taken the risk of not scoring on first down and burning the 40 seconds.
So the Eagles fan base is part, and a lot of you are saying it's the fan base. I'm getting it on the text line. I'm getting it in the chat rooms. It's the fan, and we get it. I don't have a problem with their fan base. I know exactly who they are. But the Mafia, they jump on tables. We love the Mafia. They travel everywhere. They're such great fans. They party their asses off. So let's just forward this and say that the Bills win the Super Bowl. And you know that they will tush push. David, if they go the rest of the way, if I were to say Josh Allen ran a half dozen tush pushes, would you go over or under that number?
You mean the rest of the way?
The rest of the way.
Well, they'll have to play 3 more games. So, yeah, I'd go over.
Yeah, I might go over 10. Do you think there will be the same sentiment to ban the tush push if it's Josh Allen and the lovable losing Bills who lost the 4 Super Bowls in a row, and everybody wants Josh Allen to get his? David, you've only called him, and you're not the only one, and I'm not knocking you for it. You've only referenced him as Superman, I think, 3 times already in this show.
Yep.
Now, I don't know if he'll still be Superman if he loses to Denver next week, okay? But just for sake of argument, if it's the Bills having success with this, the Bills who, by the way, voted to ban the tush push in the league meetings over the summer, went 4 for 4 doing it yesterday. So I'm just curious, will there be the same sentiment to get rid of this play in the offseason if it's the Bills who have success with it?
Yes. And the reason why I believe yes is because people in the league and fans watching will be like, oh, my goodness, the disease has now spread. It's not just Philadelphia, it's Buffalo and potentially elsewhere. So, yes, I think that there will be another movement. What I'm curious about, and by the way, the same people who complained, and there were a surprising number of you who were complaining Friday about the final play of the Miami Ole Miss game and why was there not a penalty called, then you need to be just as upset about why there wasn't a penalty called on that Bills tush push. Because the lineman literally picked him off the ground and moved him. I mean, it's illegal what they did. So if you were bitching and moaning, sorry for the language,
just
Friday.
To his mom, not the rest of you. He just gets a little nervous when he swears.
Sorry, Mom. Okay. But if you were on Friday about the final play of Miami Ole Miss, then you need to get on your high horse and do it for this also. Okay, listen, I hate the play. I've said it for years. To me, it's not a football play. I think it's still a
little hiccup there. Don't know if David's coming back right now. He had a little hitch in his giddy up. But we've said it for a while. And I have as big of a problem with pushing the pile down the field as I do with the tush push. I don't like either of them. And I just wondered, because it seems to be an Eagles thing. And I don't know if we'll still have the same animosity towards the play now that others are doing it and being successful. You know, there are many of you out there that say very simply, hey, stop the play defensively. Just get it done. If you can't, and like Dan Campbell, the Lions coach, has always said he's not against it. He thinks if you got to stop it. Now, I have a bigger problem with the procedure that seems to occur every time, particularly the Eagles. And I didn't watch as closely with the Bills. I'll go back and look on their tush pushes. Boy, that's a tough one to say for the record. But I'll look back and see if the guards were firing before the ball was snapped, because we seem to see that Philadelphia has become so good at it, and it certainly looks as if they commit a procedure penalty every single time that they run the play. I'm not sure it was the same way with the Bills yesterday. But there's no doubt in my mind that the offensive lineman carrying Josh Allen down the field for 5 yards was an illegal play. I have to laugh. There are a bunch of you both in the chat room on the Pelican Roofing text line that think David's mother cut him off for swearing. That's funny. Mom Moulton, if you're out there, you can even get blame on this show for things. So, I don't know going forward. I believe this play's going to be ruled illegal next year. What I would like to see, because we've all thought that the Eagles, the Bills with Allen, Drake May had a couple of really nice quarterback sneaks. Hell, Brady was great at the quarterback sneak. That if you have a good offensive line, the quarterback sneak is still a very valuable play. But in the case that you're not going to take the QB sneak out, what I'm more concerned with and what I think is a bigger problem is what the Bills lineman did yesterday, is aiding a runner. I don't like when there's a scrum, whether it's 5 yards down the field, and all of a sudden 2 linemen are blocking their running back down the field, and it looks like a rugby scrum. I don't know what happened in that instance to stopping forward possession of the runner. Forward progression of the runner. Sorry, I misspoke. So as we go forward, will this play get banned, and what will they do rules-wise to stop other elements of it? We'll obviously ask Pat tomorrow. He will join us on the show, and we'll break down everything from Wild Card Weekend like we always do with Pat 2 times a week. Doug Russell coming up in a little more than 50 minutes time to discuss what's going on in Green Bay and whether or not Matt LaFleur's coached his last game for the Green Bay Packers. It is our poll question today. Would you fire Nick Sirianni and or Matt LaFleur? Right now, the votes have changed, and they change quickly on this show. 35% of you, 35+% of you saying neither. David, for the record, welcome back. And 2, most everybody has blamed your mom for taking you off air for cussing.
I don't put it past her. I have always thought that the lightning bolt that can come from the sky, 50-50, whether it was coming from the big fella or whether it was coming from mom. So, yeah, something happened to my rock-solid internet connection there. Don't know what's going on, but, well, I just hooked up with a new internet connection. Now I'll be getting emails for life from some other company.
There you go. All right. So just wanted to get into the tush-push a little bit and wondering, because I didn't hear I didn't see it on X. I didn't hear it post-game. I didn't hear it while it happened. No one seemed to have a problem with an offensive lineman carrying Josh Allen 5 yards. The play should be illegal.
I don't think people caught it. I mean, there's already people in the chat room who said, wow, Mark, I saw it. I saw the replay, but I didn't see it the way you saw it. I'm looking at it now, and I'll be damned you're right. Which makes me wonder, by the way, because there is every week the officials in the league, they meet. And, like we get an email. When I say we, I mean those of us at ESPN, about 2 dozen of us. Our rules official, Russell York, he sends us like points of emphasis from the league that week. And I'll be very curious late this week, Mark, because it's going to be pointed out to the league, and we already know the league's against the play, whether or not that there will try to be more of a crackdown on the play, because there's already been this year. Like the Eagles have used it less because they're cracking down on the officiating of it. They're calling more procedure penalties, false starts, etc. So I'll be curious now if going forward in these playoffs, will there be even more of a crackdown on the play? Miller and Moulton, thanks for listening. Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit leecountybusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
The
sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you can be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
This is Miller and Moulton.
DC, yes, I will talk to Russell before the meeting starts, and I will definitely bring it up in the production meeting if he doesn't. Michael, I'm not saying the Broncos are going to lose. I'm just saying that they couldn't have wanted to see Josh Allen. I'm sure they much preferred to play the winner of tonight's game instead. And Robes, to me, it looked like they did. I didn't see a shot in the game that looked old.
By the way, fun little fact. Yes, on Friday when I was doing the podcast and putting it up, I noticed that most of last week I was putting 2025 at the end of the year. I had to edit when we had to go back and do that 45-second thing, David. Well,
right.
The reason I was here is I was editing every single one that I screwed up on, and it was a lot of them.
Okay.
That's what happens when you don't write. You used to write the date a lot more than we do now, whether it was
Sure.
checks or what.
Yep.
When I worked here, contracts. There was a lot more things that were handwritten, I guess.
I have no idea what's going on. My MiFi is not working. What the hell? Kind of the reason I bought you and pay quite a lot of money for this plan, by the way, because this thing needs to work. Huh. By the way, Permane Brothers surprisingly affordable.
Yes.
In this day and age. Surprisingly. I had an appetizer, I had a sandwich, and I had a drink, which they refilled twice. And the whole thing cost $23. I was pleasantly,
Now,
surprised.
I get that it's country club prices, but my club is not like a ritzy club. And I was going to go there and eat Friday before I played. They had €1 as the special. I'm like, ooh, that sounds good. They were charging $20 for the euro. Right. I went to the Cuban place at the gas station, got a Cuban sandwich for $12.50.
There you go.
Had half of it for my lunch. Had the other half for my lunch the next day. Felt like I won.
No, Fly Panda. ESPN ABC has a divisional playoff game next week. We don't know which one. We think it'll be a Saturday game, either Denver, Buffalo, or Seattle, the Niners. And since we just did Seattle, the Niners, I think we're cautiously optimistic we're going to get the Broncos and the Bills.
And here you go. I'm going to bet on Seattle, San Francisco, because they just need to fly David out to the West Coast one more time.
Right. Be my 11th Pacific time zone game this year. Right now, the ratio is 10-2, Pacific to Mountain, 10-2.
Wow.
So it's either going to be 10-3 or 11-2, probably. Yeah.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Halfway home on this Overreaction Monday, at least in Jacksonville, Tampa, St. Pete, and Fort Myers, Naples. Final hour of the show, live Oak Lake City, surrounding areas, Port Charlotte, Venice, and surrounding areas. We are Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. You miss any part of the show, every hour is podcasted right after the hour ends at MillerandMoulton.com. Doug Russell, Packers Radio Network, to join us in about 35 minutes' time. Listen, I'm not doing this to pat ourselves on the back. I'm just doing this because we get a lot of grief when we say that major sports is a TV show. People think we're being too flippant and what have you. And we're like, no, it's a TV show. Here's how much of a TV show it is. The NFL is not going to determine what time the divisional round games are going to be and on what networks they're going to be on until they find out the winner of tonight's Pittsburgh and Houston game.
And David, I'm curious. Why is that?
Because there's a big-ass ratings difference between the Steelers and the Texans.
You don't say.
I do say.
You don't say. I'll be damned. You mean the Pittsburgh Steelers may rate a little bit better than the Texans?
A little bit. Not to go all Goodfellows here, but a little bit. There is a lot of talk, and I don't know how much you care, but I'm going to go there anyway. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of stuff we mentioned in which, maybe it's only something meaningful to Miller and Moulton, and you guys are kind enough to put up with. But why certain divisional games are being played on what day they're being played? Like, there's a lot of uproar about the Niners, especially, having to play Seattle on Saturday. And I got to be honest with you on that one. I'm with them. Here's going forward, something you always need to accept. First off, we've said it many times, but the wild card round Monday Night Football game will always be a 4 versus 5 matchup for just the reason this year. We know the winner tonight does what? They go to New England. Doesn't matter who wins. We know who they're playing where. The NFL needs that surety every year. So the 4-5, one of the two, is going to be the last wild card game. Okay, here's the other thing that's almost 100%. They will not do what they did in the wild card round on Saturday, the 2 NFC games. The NFL almost always will go NFC, AFC on Saturday, NFC, AFC on Sunday. So they're not going to have the winner of the Monday night game play on Saturday. That's too short a week, they feel, in the playoffs. So obviously, New England and the winner of tonight's game is going to be a Sunday game. What's left to be determined is it going to be the early game? Because if it's the Texans, it's the worst rated game of the weekend, and they'll put that as the early start, and they'll have the Bears and the Rams be the late start.
Ooh, you think, and I just asking, you are better at this than I am. Patriots, Texans would get a worse rating than Niners, Seahawks.
I think so.
I think they'd be close, don't you?
Okay, possibly not. I mean,
it's all West Coast, and Seattle doesn't have a big following, and I get the Niners are a historically good team, but two West Coast teams, and there are not as many people out there, all that.
I'm just curious how many people who jumped on the Patriots bandwagon during the generational Brady run are now back on this bandwagon, or was that a Brady-Belichick thing?
David, I don't know. There are a lot of Bostonians that are across the country. But I only say this because I happened to be working out Sunday morning. Went to the gym early. And I sweat like a pig. And I went to wipe my face off, and I popped my earbud out. And it went out of my ear, and it went under the treadmill. And the guy next to me had just finished. And what a great guy he was, because I wasn't getting off the treadmill until I was done with my workout. And he starts looking. I'm like, you don't have to look for it. I'm good. And he's moving the treadmill, and he's looking, trying to find it. And we ended up getting after I was done with my workout. But as we did that, I thanked him profusely. And I'm like, hey, because I could tell by the accent. I said, from Boston, huh? I said, you're ready for today, aren't you? He goes, oh, man, I can't wait. And I mean, and I have a lot of friends who are from Boston, and they have been giddy.
Yeah, but Mark, with all due respect, obviously every Boston fan's going to be back on the Patriots wagon. But the Patriots became bigger. The Patriots became national under Belichick and Brady. They did. Okay, good and bad, but they became national, just like the Chiefs were never national until Mahomes. Then they became national. I'm just curious because Mark, think about it. How many of those fans then started rooting for the Bucs because of number 12?
Yes, but I think the other thing that you're discounting is because of the Boston fan, the hatred for the Patriot by the rest of the people who didn't like them rises to the surface incredibly quickly.
See, it's interesting, and I don't feel that yet. Maybe now that they're having some success, maybe now it'll start to come back. And if they win this round and they're in the AFC Championship game, maybe a whole bunch of fan bases go, holy blank, really? The Patriots? And the hate comes back. But I sense Vrabel's likable. Drake May's likable. Okay, that for now, they're okay with them. We'll see. You could be right. But the NFL has announced that we're a TV show because they have literally sent out a release that says we are waiting until after the result of the Steelers-Texans game to tell you when the 4 divisional round games will be played and what networks will be showing them.
Now, can I just ask you a question? I'm not questioning what you said, but the point you made at the beginning was that we're always going to have one NFC and one AFC Saturday and Sunday this weekend.
I believe so, yes.
There was a reason for that for the longest time because only 2 networks showed the games. Do you think that could change?
Yes.
Given the fact that we now have multiple networks showing the divisional round, which we didn't have not too long ago.
Yes. And I think that's the reason why, if it changes, it should justifiably change. Here is the one area where I think the NFL has already made a mistake about the divisional round. Both the Bears and the Rams played on Saturday. Why are they then playing the following Sunday? Okay, because Seattle and the Niners right now are the NFC game, and it's been scheduled for Saturday. Why do the Niners have to only have a 6-day turnaround? Seattle has the bye, they earned it. But why couldn't you play Chicago and the Rams as your NFC game on Saturday and have Seattle and San Francisco be the NFC game on Sunday so that at least the Niners get a full complement of days off?
Is this because, and we've talked about this on the show a lot over the years, do they want to make sure Sunday's as big as possible? And of the teams still playing, the one that rates the best are the Chicago Bears?
I think so. I do.
Make no mistake, the Bears rate. The NFL is ecstatic about the Bears being good. That's ratings gold.
But the NFL is basically saying right now, we're going to make the Bears-Rams the mid-afternoon Sunday game if the Steelers win. We'll put the Steelers and Patriots in prime time, and it'll probably be NBC, and they'll be thrilled with it. All right? But I find it interesting that the NFL has literally come out in the last hour, and the headline might as well be, "We're a TV show." Because we're literally waiting on the outcome of tonight's wild card game to determine officially when certain games are being played and what networks are showing them. There is a war going on in the last 8 hours behind the scenes with network people calling Park Avenue, lobbying for the game they want, because it's 4 games, 4 networks this coming weekend. And they're saying, you owe me for this. I mean, listen, if I was running ABC, ESPN, I'd be like, let me get this straight. You gave you gave Amazon Prime the Bears Packers. You don't think Fox is saying that to the NFL? You gave the Bears Packers to Amazon?
And by the way, if you don't think that's a precursor for what you can expect going forward with this league, you're missing the boat. There was a reason, David, that game was on Prime. That's a huge ratings game, and they're making sure that they're going to set all kinds of streaming records from that game.
NBC wants to air their games at night. NBC's like, we'll take the Sunday night game. CBS is going, hold on a second. Okay, that could be an AFC game that we want our hands on. You know, you think CBS wants ABC, ESPN to get the Bills and the Broncos? By the way, Joe and Troy have not done a Josh Allen game this year. You don't think ABC's lobbying like hell? You think that we want to do the Seahawks and the Niners for the second time in 12 days? So anyway, that's the politics. And that's the reality that's going on right now. Steelers-Texans kick off in 12 hours. The NFL's not going to announce for 15 to 16 hours what the divisional round looks like, what day, what time, what network, until they see whether it's the Texans or the Steelers. Don't you love how the NFL basically said to the one team, you're the Miners, They're the majors. Good luck tonight. Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com.
Think we only fix windows? Think again. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business does so much more to upgrade your home. We custom build stunning shower and bath enclosures, install sleek glass doors and windows, and can bring fresh life to foggy or cracked panes. Need a glass tabletop or a statement mirror? Yep, we do that too. If it's glass and it's in your home, we're the team to call.
Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh yeah!
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
This is Miller and Moulton.
I will say I've gotten a lot better, David, at looking at my internet when you go down to make sure who it is. Because
Right? Yeah, me too.
occasionally it's been me, and I'm like, all right, when
Right.
it's me, it really sucks because I got to do the show and reconnect all at the same time.
And here's how I knew it was me, because I lost both of us. And I went, that's me. Because like when you go away, I know it's you.
Gotcha. Gotcha. By the way, there are changes coming in Jersey.
What do you mean?
Devils. I mean, that big whooping, then they got another whooping.
Oh,
they
they-
lost again.
They just hired the coach. They hired the coach. Didn't they hire him last offseason?
Yeah, I know.
Isn't he the Leafs? Or did they hire him 2 seasons ago? Because he's the guy who was with the Leafs. But I think the GM Fitzgerald's in trouble.
I mean, I thought they were going to challenge Carolina for that division. Now, a good week can change anything in that conference right now. But they're 6 points back of a playoff spot with 4 teams ahead of them. I thought Ottawa was going to be good too. Be interesting to see which of these teams, the Flyers, the Red Wings, the Sabres, can they keep on keeping on in the second half of the season? There's our 2 minutes of NHL talk. We're done till, well, at least until we get to what's on tap, because there's some snark tonight. You got to follow the NHL, but there's great snark tonight in Detroit. 7-1-2 in their last 10, too, Canada Relief.
They're still out, though, aren't they?
Yes. But by a point.
Yeah, the East is a mess.
And they've got 2 games in hand on Washington. I mean, the games played all over the place so that's why I said a good week change. I mean, look at Buffalo. They've had a good month, and all of a sudden they're a playoff team. They were under 500 when the whole damn thing started.
Yes, they were. They were really under 500. They were like 5 games under 500.
The Avs are 12 points clear of the next closest team in the league. By the way, the 2 closest teams to them are the Stars and the Wild.
Exactly.
Amazing. God, they're good. I hope for Bedsy's sake he wins the whole thing.
I do too.
I'll work on him next time I see they make an East Coast swing.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Doug Russell, Packers Radio Network. He'll join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time on this Overreaction Monday edition of Miller and Moulton. MillerandMoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question involves a couple coaches who lost over the weekend. Should they lose their jobs? We're talking about LaFleur with the Packers, Sirianni with the Eagles. You decide. Both of them? Neither of them? One of them. Choose. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Mark, what's your official answer on that? If
I
you're the
voted
Packers,
both.
You voted both.
I voted both.
Okay. I think
I wouldn't, you know what? I would not fire Sirianni. That's way
Okay.
too much success. He's just not very likable. And
Okay.
I have this feeling he's getting fired. So I kind of said I'd need a day to think about it, if you know what I mean. But my gut tells me both are getting fired.
Boy, I'll tell you, his success seems tied to who his offensive coordinator is. If you look, when he's had success, he had an offensive coordinator that went on and got head coaching jobs. Shane Steichen in Indianapolis, Kellen Moore now with the Saints. And when they have fizzled out in the season and the playoffs, it's for offensive coordinators who have been one and done. And his buddy is who he hired as offensive coordinator after Kellen Moore left. And but if they had won yesterday, he was getting fired. But now that they lost, I don't think there's any doubt. What if I propose this to you? Because it seems as if A.J. Brown and Nick Sirianni can't be in the same place next year. So you tell me, do you get a new coach who with it's a new offensive coordinator and you keep A.J. Brown? Or do you just force Nick to get a new offensive coordinator? Hell, maybe even you pick the guy for him, because Howie Roseman runs that organization. And there are front offices who pick assistant coaches. And Howie certainly has the hand to do it. And you just say to Nick, you don't have a choice in this. Okay, I'll get rid of AJ because he's a distraction. And I'm picking your offensive coordinator and you get to keep your job.
How much was AJ a distraction this year? Last year he was a distraction. How much of a distraction was he this year? I don't think it was nearly what it was a year ago.
See, I actually think it wasn't a distraction last year. I know he was reading the book on the sidelines, but he and everybody associated with the Eagles said, guys, this is not an issue. AJ's been great. Okay. AJ had not been great this year. AJ was starting to pout during games again. He pouted during the game yesterday. Clearly pouted. That's why Sirianni ran down the sidelines and yelled at him. to get off the field. And then AJ yelled at him back. And even the Fox crew pointed out, he went about 2 hours with a ball not being thrown his way. Now, whose fault is that? We obviously don't know. And then, unfortunately, a really key pass was thrown his way and he dropped it.
Now, that's the problem, because that drop's going to linger in Philadelphia for a while. That drop could have been the difference of winning and losing a football game.
Yep.
And as much as I think, and I know the fan base doesn't determine who the players and coaches are, but as much as I prior to yesterday, David, I would have for sure said fire Sirianni if this happened and keep A.J. Brown, because I think it's tough to replace an A.J. Brown. I really do. I don't think it's as tough to replace a Nick Sirianni. I don't. And I could be nuts for that statement. But that drop is haunting my brain with that thought process, because he's got to have that ball. I'm sorry. That's a catch that's got to be made by a number one receiver. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, hell, by a number 2 receiver and a number 3 receiver. That's a big spot, fourth quarter of a playoff game. You got to catch that ball.
The other side of this is Jalen Hurts ain't going anywhere. And that relationship between the two of them seems to be terrible. So I might get rid of both of them, to be brutally honest.
And it might happen. I will say the Eagles are starting to come up on cap situations. The Eagles have kicked the can down the road. Now, their cap situation, dead money, like by the end of this decade, is extravagant. I mean, how much the Eagles have kicked the can down the road. The Eagles are counting on the cap going to the levels that, we've talked about. It's going to get to 295 or 300 this offseason, and the Eagles are counting on it getting to like 450 by the end of the decade. Let me tell you, they got dead money down the road. But
so I don't, Jalen Hurts ain't going anywhere. So does that mean there's not enough room in this town for me and you, A.J. Brown?
Right. When you're winning cures most everything. But, this is not considered winning for Philadelphia. Repeating as NFC East champion and being the first team in that division to do it in 21 years is not good enough. They had to win playoff games. I think anything less than an NFC championship game appearance from this team would have been considered a failure of a season. And so this team now gets a D or an F for what they did this year. I mean, winning a division in which no one else in the division was 500 or above, fan base like, yeah, whatever.
So I would keep Sirianni. His success rate's been unbelievable. He's annoying. I get it. There are a lot of things that I don't like about him, but you cannot deny his success there. And because Jalen Hurts ain't going anywhere, if you just get rid of A.J. Brown, does that fix it? I mean, yeah, you want an every team wants a guy like that. But what did he have yesterday? How many catches? 3?
And I think they were all early.
Right. So,
but, there are those that argue if they had a better throwing quarterback, if they played in a better offense, that he would have much better stats.
But their offense is predicated on Saquon running the football.
Right.
It's old school. You run to set up the pass. And when you drop a key third down, I don't give a damn. I mean, he had 7 targets yesterday. He caught 3 balls.
Yeah.
That ain't good. How much of that's on Hurts? How much is that on Brown? The key drops on Brown. But my gut tells me they're both gone. And in Green Bay, just to switch it quickly, it's because of what you taught. Are you going to extend him?
Well, that's just it. I mean, heading late in the season, LaFleur and the Packers were going to sit down whenever the season ended and negotiate his extension. Then they lost their last 5 to end the year. This reminds me a little bit when John Gruden and the Bucks were 9-3. Matt LaFleur and the Packers were 9-3-1. Micah Parsons gets hurt. They lose their last 5. He and they have a coaching and playing meltdown against their biggest rival in the playoffs. And now all of a sudden you go, can we really give this guy an extension? The fan base wants to light him on fire.
And they're very different in that the Eagles, like you said, Howie's going to do what he wants to do. But with John Harbaugh out there, if John Harbaugh wasn't out there, would Green Bay be making a change? I don't know. But with the opportunity to think what would be an upgrade, do they make that change?
Well, we've talked a lot about the Giants had 5 double-digit fourth-quarter leads and lost all those games. Well, Green Bay had 4 of them. And they also had a 9-point lead in Denver in the second half. And they lost all those games. 2 of them against the Bears. That goes a long way.
And obviously, they win those 2 games. They're playing at home.
Hell, if they had won the first one, they would have played this weekend's game at home. Hell, if they won the first one, I think the Bears would have missed the playoffs. Doug Russell, Packers Radio Network, next.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and
This
sound.
is Miller and Moulton.
Doug is on.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
22 minutes till the top of the hour on this Overreaction Monday edition of Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Please vote in our poll question. Matt LaFleur, Nick Sirianni taking heat for their teams losing in the playoffs over the weekend. Would you get rid of them? Both of them? None of them? Or choose between the two? Vote accordingly. That Mark Miller, the David Moulton, Miller_Moulton on X. Doug Russell works for a couple of radio outlets in Wisconsin. He's also part of the Packers radio network. You can follow Doug on X simply at Doug Russell, 2 L's and 2 L's. Doug, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this again. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Remind me, Nick Sirianni won a Super Bowl a year ago, right?
A year ago, correct. Yes.
Just wanted to check. Okay, go on. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. It's important sometimes to do that. In fact, I think technically 11 months ago, he won. Along those lines, is it fair to blame Matt LaFleur for the debacle that was Saturday night?
Well, you can blame him for his odd use of timeouts, so that's part of it, certainly. I don't know if it's entirely fair to blame all of it on him, but I will say this. This team has a history of hurtling up in the playoffs. This team has a history this year of blowing late leads, and there's one common denominator, and that common denominator happens to be the head coach. And sometimes it's the message that gets stale, and that's why the discussion is being had. And Matt knows it, and everybody in the state of Wisconsin knows it. I mean, this is a team that, you know, had a late lead against the Cleveland Browns and blew it back in week 3. This is a team that should not have tied the Dallas Cowboys and yet tied the Dallas Cowboys. They should have beaten the Carolina Panthers. Now, Carolina turned out to be a good team, but they blew a late lead late. The same thing happened against Denver. Same thing happened their first loss against Chicago a few weeks ago. And then this epic collapse in the playoffs. They've had epic collapses in the playoffs before. The one common denominator happens to be the head coach, and you got to figure out exactly why that is. The bad use of timeouts, that's 100% on the head coach. Some of the other things, poor execution by some of the players at some junctures. But, why couldn't the offense do anything in the third quarter, and that gassed the defense, and that helped Chicago's offense and just run up and down the field in the fourth quarter against the Bears, or against the Packers. So, is it 100% to blame? No, but rarely is it when a coach gets fired, right?
All right, then, particularly the third quarter, they come out with a bunch of 3-and-outs and get nothing done. Where should the blame go? Is it Jordan Love? I mean, there are a lot of people who think he is fantastic. There are others that think he makes some timely bad throws. Where are you on the quarterback?
I think the quarterback's good. He's not great. He's getting there. A lot of people wanted to tag him as an elite quarterback. Now, I've got a couple of, in my mind, I think everybody can choose it for themselves, what makes an elite quarterback. For me, an elite quarterback is someone who does at least one of a couple of things. One of those things is, have you led your team into a conference championship game? Jordan Love has not done that yet. Another litmus test, another benchmark, if you will. Have you ever received a single MVP vote? So far, Jordan Love has not. So he's not an elite quarterback, at least not to me yet. I think he can get there. I think that he's got the opportunity to grow into that, but he's only been a starter for 3 years. I know he's been in the league for 6, but he, of course, famously sat behind Aaron Rodgers for the first 3 years of his career. I think he can get there. I don't blame Jordan Love. I think he had a pretty good game from a clean pocket. When he doesn't have a clean pocket, he struggles. Is that an area of growth for him? Sure. But when he has a clean pocket, he's as good as anybody in the NFL. It's just a matter of giving him that clean pocket, giving that offensive line some health. They haven't had a whole lot of that. They've been missing their starting center for most of the season. They had another offensive lineman go down in the game on Saturday night. So, I mean, I think Jordan Love is a fine quarterback, and I think he's only going to get better. But again, this team was beset by so many injuries. I don't want to make excuses, but I don't put this one at Jordan Love's feet.
So they were 9-3-1 and had the lead against the Broncos in the second half in Denver. He gets hurt. They lose 5 straight. Coincidence?
Not entirely, but some of it. Look, Micah Parsons got injured too. I mean, in that one, Devontae Wyatt got hurt. Tucker Kraft got hurt earlier in the season. So all of these things are mitigating factors. I don't put this one at Jordan Love's feet, because even when he got hurt, Malik Willis came in and did a fine job as his backup quarterback. I think Malik Willis could start for, at least a half dozen teams right now in the NFL. And he saved their season a year ago, and I think that he helped stem the tide this year. So, I don't think it's the quarterback. I really don't. Is he perfect? No. Is he elite? Not yet, but I think he can also get there at some point. I don't put this at Jordan Love's feet.
If you would have done one thing differently in the second half, what would it have been?
Would have called timeout with 4 minutes left. What was that? I mean, honestly, yeah. And the other thing is, you can't take a delay of game coming out of a timeout in a critical situation like that. That's inexcusable. High school teams don't do that. That's inexcusable for Pee Wee League. And so that was part of it. I think, to me, the poor use of timeouts, using 2 timeouts when LaFleur did, everybody that I was watching the game with was just screaming, like, what are you doing? Just honestly, just from a football standpoint, even if you don't have a rooting interest, like, what are you doing here? And so for me, it was those were critical mistakes that were physical mistakes are going to happen, right? But that's just a mental breakdown, and the mental breakdowns oftentimes are what spells doom versus success. And for me, it was just the mental mistakes that sometimes continue to be made by this team. That's what I would have done differently.
He's Doug Russell, WIBA, along with 1070 The Game in Wisconsin. He's part of the Packers Radio Network. Follow him on X at Doug Russell, 2 S's and 2 L's. Doug, are you finding what Adam Schefter posted 2 minutes ago surprising, that apparently the Packers and LaFleur are going to try to work out a contract extension? If that is in fact true, does that surprise you?
A little bit. Not entirely, because he's got 1 more year left on his contract. And I know that Ed Policy, the Packers president and CEO, last week said that he looked at LaFleur and looked at all the mitigating factors, specifically the injuries. I mean, you lose arguably your 2 best players in Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft. You lose your run stopper in Devontae Wyatt. All of the injuries that have beset this team throughout the entire year. You lose your starting center in Elton Jenkins. Ed Policy is a guy who's been around football literally his entire life. His father was Carmen Policy. Still is. Carmen's still alive. But you saw him, how he ran the 49ers and ran them successfully. So I'm not surprised. I don't think it's going to be a long-term extension. I think it might be a 1-year rollover, maybe a 2-year deal. No more than that. But, it certainly gives me something to say and something to talk about on my show coming up in a few hours.
No doubt. All right. Are you running this? I mean, obviously it looks like they're going to run it back. Let's just advance this. Guys come back from injury. When you look at this team for next year, what is it they need in the offseason to be the best team in the North? Because Chicago's not going anywhere. Minnesota seemed to have they ended up being over 500, but that was a weird season. Detroit doesn't look like they're done. So to regain the top of the North, what does this team need to do?
Well, number one, I'll start with better cornerbacks. Their cornerback play this year was atrocious. Kennington Valentine and especially Keyshawn Nixon were terrible. I don't think they're going to bring Trayvon Diggs back because, he'd be a $15 million salary cap hit. That's just too much of a risk. And Trayvon Diggs played 1 snap on Saturday night after playing, I thought, okay against Minnesota after having been in the building for 4 days. I think they're good at safety. I think they're good at linebacker. I think they're good up front. I think their offensive line is okay. I'm not necessarily sold with Elton Jenkins as a center. He's a much better guard. They brought in Aaron Banks. He was terrible this year after having a couple solid seasons with the 49ers. I don't know that I'd be shocked to see him be let go, and then you move Elton Jenkins back over to left guard. So I don't know. I mean, I think that there's a lot of places where they can make an upgrade, but the biggest area of concern on this team is cornerback. Their cornerback play has just been awful this year. So if they can shore that up or at least get a little bit better at it, I think that at least gives them a better chance at making another deep run in the playoffs. They haven't done that in a few years. This is a good team. When everybody's healthy, this is a really good team. I think the NFC North is primed to be the class of the NFL as far as divisions are concerned. And I would have been interested to see these two teams play each other at full strength, but we certainly didn't see that on Saturday night.
Doug, thanks for making time for us. We appreciate you and your insight. Have a great show later today, and hopefully we can talk soon.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Doug Russell with WIBA Radio 1070 The Game, part of the Packers Radio Network. Follow him on X, Doug Russell. That's 2 S's, 2 L's in Russell. And while we were talking to him, Adam Schefter, and he did say late last week that the Packers and LaFleur were going to sit down and work out a contract extension after the debacle that was Saturday night. That certainly was up in the air. He's reporting this morning in the last few minutes that is still the intention. LaFleur did say yesterday when meeting with the media he was going to sit down with his bosses today. We'll see how it goes. Doesn't mean that they'll work out an extension. LaFleur may not like the terms, maybe too short term. He may think he's entitled to more. They may insist on some staff changes that he's not happy with. It's not like Matt LaFleur knows he can't get a job, and a good one.
Yeah, how good, though? I'm being serious. Where do you think he could go? I mean, maybe Baltimore, but you find me a roster that's better than what he's got that's out there for an available job right now.
Well, I didn't say a better job, but I said he could get a good one. I mean, has he had a losing season in his 7 years as head coach?
Okay, a good one. Give me a job that's in the area code, roster-wise, and I understand it's the North, and I think Doug's point's excellent about how good that division is. But what job, if it's not Baltimore, and I don't think they're going to hire him, even if he were available. I think the D coordinator with the Chargers is the odds-on favorite. Where's the job in the area code of the Packers that's out there?
Well, what if Philadelphia opened up? Who are they going to hire? I think they'd be interested in him, and goodness knows vice versa. But I mean, listen, he'd go probably right to the top of the Dolphins wish list. They just hired the vice president of player personnel from Green Bay. I mean, they're going to interview his defensive coordinator. You don't think they'd be all interested in him?
Oh, I know. But you and I have completely different views on that job.
Oh, we don't think it's a good job. I think it's a mess. For at least a year, it's a mess. And it could be longer because they have to solve the quarterback position in the next 18 months in order for it to become a decent job.
No doubt. And that's the part of that scares me the most, because even good GMs don't bat 100 when it comes to picking quarterbacks out of the draft.
Hell,
they don't bat 330.
40, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
it's not easy.
But you only have to get it right once.
That's it.
You could be there 10 years.
Speaking of coaches and jobs, rumor out there that the Cleveland Browns, not rumor, fact, I guess, the Cleveland Browns are interviewing Mike McDaniel for their head coaching job. And if I had a laugh track, I would have played it following that sentence.
Well, especially the Cleveland Browns, because the two teams played this year in Cleveland. So it's not like the general manager and owner didn't see the game. And Cleveland won 31-6. And that's the guy that you're even interviewing. How do you sell that at the presser, by the way? And I know there are a lot of people talking Mike McDaniel up, think the Dolphins made a mistake, think he's a much better coach now than he was when he got the job, that the guys played hard for him. He's back to running the football like he did when he was in San Francisco. Some of that may be all well and good. I can't hire him to be my head coach in Cleveland. We just kicked your butt 31-6 and we sucked. Come on. I mean,
Now,
you want to call plays.
Right. Maybe that's where that's where he is. Josh McDaniel had a bunch of cracks at it. Didn't seem to know how to run a team. But as a guy calling plays, he's pretty damn good. Head coaching jobs are not meant for everyone. Some of us just have to be coordinators, if you know what I mean.
Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McDaniel, who would you hire? Seriously. Head coach. Cliff Kingsbury, Mike McDaniel, who would you hire?
Kingsbury?
Hey, football fans, Jimmy the Beef Guy here. This is coming up fast. Wait, did you just beat me? You mean I can't say soup? Whatever. So, guys, if you're having a football party, don't wait till last minute. Remember, guys, our beef packages come with the beef, the gravy, the bread, the peppers. All you have to do is heat and serve. So call me now or stop in one of our 2 locations in Bonita Springs or Fort Myers. And again, guys, please don't wait till last minute, man. Put your orders in now.
Got a cracked window or foggy glass? Don't wait for the next storm to make it worse. Your local Glass Doctor Home and Business is just down the road and ready to help. From leaky frames to shattered panes, we've got the tools and the know-how to get your home or business storm ready. With flexible scheduling and our done right promise, you'll be in good hands. So before or after the weather hits, call your neighbors at Glass Doctor.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor. We fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. Sleep safe and sound.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000 depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to capecops.com. capecops.com. Be brave, be best. Be Cape.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Spring training is a big win for Lee County. Beginning next month, we will proudly host the Boston Red Sox and Minnesota Twins right here in Southwest Florida. It's more than great baseball. It's jobs, visitors, and $69 million in tourism impact for our local economy. Get your tickets at redsox.com and twins.com. Be part of something that strengthens our community. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Yeah, Canada Relief. Yinzer beat me to it. The 05 Steelers, who did win 11 games. They were 11-5, but they were a wild card. They won 3 road games in the Super Bowl.
All right, Yinzer. 10 means you're no doubt you're going to win tonight. 1 means there's no doubt you're going to lose. So on the scale of 1 to 10, where is your confidence for tonight's game? And we did sell our tickets yesterday, by the way, David.
Good price, or?
I think so. She doesn't let me. I have no control over this.
Oh, I understand, but she doesn't even tell you?
I mean, I think we did all right. I mean, we did fine.
Okay. So he said a 4.
Yeah, I think that's fair. By the way, how about Michigan losing at home to Wisconsin?
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness.
They were like 1 for 7 in the last 4 minutes from the floor. I watched the end of it. I was stunned. And damn Nebraska, like that was no, because they weren't even favored. Indiana was favored in that game. Damn Nebraska. They were down double digits in the second half and come back and won that game.
Okay. I need to say this out loud, and you need to ask yourself, what year is it? In fact, I may save this for the air. Indiana is unbeaten in football, and Nebraska is unbeaten in basketball. What year is it?
1937.
I was going to say, let's see, 1981. Trying to think when Tom Osborne really had it going. God.
Oh, you're flipping the sports. I'm sorry. Okay, I
think about it. There's
no. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Indiana is unbeaten in football.
In the 80s.
All right. And Nebraska is unbeaten in basketball.
Right.
Aren't you like, no, you're drunk. It's the other way around.
Right.
No. Mark, you might have been right. What'd you guess? The 30s?
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, it could be something crazy like that. Like pre-NCAA. Yeah, Yinzer. I know Aaron likes to throw quickly. I just think you have a problem up front tonight.
Well, I thought your point on Friday was a good one. When the rush comes, he either likes to fall down or,
Well, the other thing is they're going to put Stingley on Metcalf. So even getting him back gets negated. They've got one of the 3 best shutdown corners in the league.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, coming at you from the Floor Meister Studios. Floor Meisters, keeping it real. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It is the bonus hour on this Overreaction Monday. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Our poll question, Matt LaFleur, Nick Sirianni, coaches in hot water. Their teams didn't end the season well. They both suffered playoff losses that the fan base thinks they should not have suffered. What a blown debacle of a lead it was for Green Bay. And yeah, the Bears deserve as much credit as you can give them for coming from behind. Green Bay still should have won. And Green Bay certainly needs a new kicker. Holy guacamole. All right. And we haven't said it. There were 2 plays over the weekend, Mark, that have to be talked about. And I know to do so on radio is, it'd be better if this was a TV show because we could show the plays. The throw that Caleb Williams made on 4th down when they were down, 12, 13 points, and there's like 5 minutes to go in the game, and they're in their own end, and it's 4th and 8, And that throw he made, I don't know if he'll make a better throw in his life. That was amazing. Amazing. And then obviously they scored, and what happened. But oh my goodness. And it does look like as he was releasing the ball, a Packer defender had a hold of his right foot. And then, did you see the assist in the women's hockey game?
It is literally one of the. It's a play that you don't do in a game. She flipped the puck up, then knocked it down between the defender's legs and managed to feed a backhand pass across the ice to her teammate for essentially an open net.
Right, goal. At full speed, too, because she's coming down the wing with the puck. She's at full speed. And you
But
can
she flipped it up when the players do a Michigan and drag it. She kind of she toe dragged it, flipped it up, knocked it down between the defender's legs, and then made the backhand pass.
Went around the defender, got the puck, lured the other defender over to her because she had beaten the defender who was responsible for her, and then while still at full speed, slid a perfect backhand pass across the crease on the tape right into the open net. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Now, they don't allow checking in women's hockey. This is where you're taught to take the body, not look at the puck. Regardless, it was awesome. Awesome.
There were two plays made this weekend that were just like, whoa, what? The Caleb Williams throw and the Abby Murphy assist are, I don't know which one you put ahead of the other. Maybe the Caleb Williams throw because you are, allowed to get hit. But wow. Anyway, I digress.
I got to say, David, before we get to anything else, I just need a second because very rarely do you stop me in my tracks anymore. And you did on Saturday night. David and I, for whatever reason, in our sick, twisted minds, when someone passes, we will text the other with the name of that person and their age. And David let me know Saturday night about the passing of Bob Weir for the Dead, from the Grateful Dead, one of the founders. And I will say, in the last day and a half, the things that I have seen online, the musicians, from like Stevie Vai, who's a hard rock guitarist, talking about playing with Bob Weir in 2017 at a benefit with Sammy Hagar, and he talked about backstage of them jamming for hours. Joe Strummer, who was with The Clash, and he's gone, but Joe Strummer and Weir partying one night, and Bob Weir telling the story of the two of them partying in the 80s in Philadelphia. And they both played in the same city, different venues, and the manager of The Clash came up and knocked on the hotel room door where the Dead were partying and said, "Do you mind if a couple of the guys from The Clash come up?" Now think about it. Are there two more polar opposite bands than the Grateful Dead and The Clash? And Strummer came up and started asking Weir all these questions about Pigpen, the original keyboardist for the Dead. And Weir said, "I really had to talk to this guy now." And he said there were a lot of women in the room. And they were getting annoyed that they weren't being paid attention to by the two of them. At which point, each had a bottle in their hands. Weir had a bottle of vodka. Strummer had a bottle of rum. And they walked out the window of the hotel onto the fire escape, climbed to the roof, and kept drinking until 10 in the morning when the manager of The Clash came and picked Strummer up and carried him away because they had a gig that night. But just the sheer outpouring from so many musicians that not only talk about Bob Weir as a great musician, an unbelievable rhythm guitarist, and all of the things he did, but just what a superhuman he was. So that one caught me.
Did you see the Empire State Building?
Yes.
Saturday night?
In tie-dye colors.
Yep.
Think of all the times that the Dead played Madison Square Garden over there. Probably hundreds.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, obviously you get your Billy Joel who did his, but I mean, the Dead played 3-4 nights everywhere they played. And they played the Garden a bunch of times. Obviously, they were, Garcia and Weir were on Letterman countless times. So I spent a lot of yesterday in between the football games and in the morning and at halftime looking at video clips of Bob Weir. And it kind of sucked for the lack of any other term, because I was lucky enough to see 5 Grateful Dead shows. One in Ann Arbor, 1 in Detroit, 3 in Atlanta. And I remember in Atlanta, they have what's called Shakedown Street, where all the hippies hang out and sell their stuff. And I wore a tie to work every day when I worked for the Atlanta Knights hockey team. And my boss really had no idea about the Dead, even though he was a music guy. And Craig Jenkins is his name. And I said, Jenks, I'm buying you lunch today. It's going to cost us $4. And he looked at me like, what? I said, we're going to have grilled cheese sandwiches and a Coke. And we walked down, and the looks we got approaching the hippies in a shirt and tie. And I said, hey, man, my first words when someone looked at me, I said, hey, man, it's just a uniform. And they smiled, and we went through, and we bought a couple of grilled cheese sandwiches, a couple of bottles of Coca-Cola. And my boss looked at me and said, is this what these people do? I said, yeah, all over the country, man. And the cops in Atlanta weren't very fond of Shakedown Street. And the Dead always had pretty good knowledge of what was going on in the cities that they played. And they finished the last show with I Fought the Law and the Law Won. So Bob Weir at the age of 78 passed over the weekend. If you are a Dead fan, whether it's TikTok, YouTube, wherever you watch your videos, there's so much great stuff out there.
I know Kevin Burkhardt and Fox. And by the way, of the networks, I think Fox has a couple of guys who are really into music, who do a great job of knowing the city that they're in, and then also taking into account those touchdown that just happened or the play. And they have a great musical knowledge. And Fox's music heading into break, I think, is the best in the business.
Agreed.
But Burkhardt made sure the first time that they played some Dead going into a break, he made sure to point out as to who it is and why. And I thought, well, good for you.
Because he was a Niners fan too. Like, they did the Dead did the anthem at a few Giants games. Yeah. They were sport, you don't really think of the Grateful Dead in sports because they couldn't be more opposite. But those guys did have a connection, certainly with San Francisco and the San Francisco sports scene. And Kittle wearing Dead Forever.
Yes.
Taped on his shoes.
Yeah. So certainly worthy of mention as part of the weekend that was. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Tony Dungy has just posted something on X in the last hour in which he just, you expect it from Tony. It's pretty calm, but you could tell he's fired up about it, in which he's just like, the playoff scheduling is unfair. He said, we got rid of playing the last Monday night game of the year, week 18, because they didn't want a team to have lack of rest going into the playoffs. They wanted everybody to have the same amount of rest when they played their game going into the playoffs. But he's like, why in the world? And we mentioned it earlier, Mark, the schedule. He said, why in the world are you giving the Bears and the Rams the extra day of rest and you're sticking it? He believes, by the way, he doesn't like the fact that both the Bills and the Niners played on Sunday and are having to play on Saturday. And he just said, hey, I understand the network TV game and I work for one of them, but he goes, if you can play 3 games on Sunday, you can play 3 games on Saturday. That basically this Monday night game for ABC, ESPN, Monday Night Football, he's like, I'm sorry. It's a competitive disadvantage and they got to get rid of it. And I don't disagree, by the way, as somebody who's now worked the game and it'll be my 4th year in a row. I don't disagree.
By the way, we brought up last segment that Mike McDaniel's interviewing with the Browns. According to Tom Pelissero, he's not only interviewing for head coaching jobs with the Browns, he's interviewing for head coaching jobs with the Browns, Falcons, Titans, and Ravens.
Yeah, I wonder if the Ravens thing is to also interview him, but thinking of him as an offensive coordinator.
Apparently, the Lions are scheduled to interview him as an OC as well.
By the way, Dan Campbell, Mike McDaniel, personality-wise.
Oil and water.
That seems interesting, doesn't it?
Yep.
And when I say interesting, I mean,
by the way, Dickie V had a huge problem with the Ben Johnson locker room talk. First off, it's up to the teams to put that out.
Correct.
And I love that we get access to it. But we're really going to get on a coach, and I'm not trying to pick on Dickie V. We're really going to get on a coach for saying F the Packers after he beat the Packers inside a locker room when the Bears and Packers are the oldest rivalry in the sport?
If you're the league, do you call up the Bears and go, I get it, but don't be releasing stuff like that anymore? Well, I'm serious. If you're the NFL, does the cursing bother you as a league?
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Let's talk the big differences between Floor Meisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floor Meisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floor Meisters backs their installer, so if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floor Meisters prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floor Meisters in Naples. FloorMeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floor Meisters, just keeping it real.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 13325.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Well, fam, here's the thing. I think you guys, I get why you put him on there, so I'm certainly not knocking that. But you got to quit thinking that Josh McDaniel is going to leave New England to be an OC anywhere else. That ain't happening. Jacques, correct. And obviously you're not in Twitch, you're on YouTube, but the question was asked as an OC. And that's why I'm like, he ain't leaving New England to go be an OC somewhere else.
Well, the other thing is, it's not just, May, it's job security. I mean, Vrabel ain't going anywhere. And you were handpicked by him. And he's running that organization. And the only guy he's answering to loves you also because of what you've done for him over the years. I mean, it's tough to see. He, I think, can have an off year and survive pretty easily.
So I didn't realize, it was last week I watched when I had the NBA, when I had my little Michigan thing going on with Sparty and the Pistons and the Wings all at the same time.
Right.
George Blaha is still calling Pistons games. He's 81.
Should he still be calling games?
Sounded fine with what I didn't listen to a ton. It was like third as far as my volume list, but when I had it on, he sounded fine.
Hey, Mark, I don't know if you saw it. You know, Kirk Herbstreit is a dog. I said this out loud.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
21 minutes past the hour. Good, bad, ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. Some final thoughts. All coming up in a little more than 15 minutes time. Here on Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. We got a playoff game tonight. Kickoff in, well, a little less than 11 hours. By the way, you're getting the full treatment tonight. The game's on ESPN. The game's on ABC. Eli and Peyton are on ESPN2. You know, they're throwing everything at it. Texans at Steelers. Pittsburgh's lost their last 6 playoff games. Houston's never won a road playoff game. Mike Tomlin's never lost a home game on Monday Night Football. Does this technically count, or is that only a regular season thing? It could be Aaron Rodgers' last game. I mean, he is a historically great quarterback. Hell, there are whispers that it could be Mike Tomlin's last game as Steelers coach. That would be significant. Winner of the game goes to Foxborough to play the Patriots. So there. Hey, we've had 6 years, by the way, of a 14-team NFL playoff. So we've had 12 2-7 matchups. And we didn't talk about this before, and I'm not doing it to make you look bad or stump anybody. But just off the top of your head, how many 7s have beaten a 2 in the 2-7 matchup? We've had 12 meetings.
3.
1.
Okay.
Jordan Love and the Packers going into Dallas a couple of years ago and running all over the Cowboys. Now, we nearly had one Saturday night, and you could argue should have, because Green Bay was a 7. But for what it's worth, 7 seeds are 1-11 straight up. It doesn't mean that some of the games haven't been good, entertaining. But I'm wondering, Mark, does that, if you're the league, if the 7 is not competitive against the 2, we're talking about this in college football, right? The group of 5 or 6 team or what have you. If they're not competitive, should we keep including them in? Even though we all know why they're included. It's because they don't want to get sued.
And no one bothers to ever talk about that, by the way.
Right.
Apparently, David and I are the only two, and I've seen a couple of people on X post it, but I've not ever heard once someone on Fox or ESPN ever bring that up.
Now, we all think there's never going back.
No, there's not, by the way.
But you just wonder if the 7 continues to be this uncompetitive in the 2-7 matchup, at least in terms of winning, that,
Yeah, we'll have an 8 before we'll have a 1-8 matchup before we'd ever go back to 1 and 2 getting buys.
I think you're right. But just wanted to bring up the fact that the 7s are 1-11.
All right, tonight's game. You and I, for the record, both picked Houston on Friday.
We did.
For the record, Lee was 4-1 against the number, but he did miss his game of the week. I'm currently 3-3 and have Houston. And in a shocking bit of news, David's 2-4. He also has Houston.
What? I'm having a losing week? Seriously? Wow, that never happens.
2 idiots both picked Oregon against Indiana. They shall remain nameless.
Hell with that. Their names are Miller and Moulton.
My
goodness.
goodness.
We said when we made the picks, we said this is a big mistake.
Both stubborn. Both stubborn as hell. I mean, so damn stubborn because we picked it before it started.
Right.
And I went with this whole, there had been 3 matchups that were repeats and just idiots.
We literally went through like 7 phenomenal stats head to head. And Indiana was better in all 7.
All of them.
And we're like, how in the world can we pick Oregon?
And yet we did.
And well, we stuck to our guns. We had done that, before the whole thing started. And so we just said, we're going to ride with it. Because we hate those that say something and then 2-3 weeks later, the scenario they talked about comes up and they pick the other way. And it's like, wait a minute, you're on both sides of the coin here. Okay.
So we stuck with our guns and we were idiots.
Oh, yeah.
Idiots.
Oof.
We're sticking with our guns tonight in picking Houston on the road, despite the fact that Houston's not won a road playoff game, that Tomlin doesn't lose Monday Night Football games. But if we are wrong, why are we going to be wrong is really the best question I would ask you, David. Is it Metcalf having a big game? Is it Pittsburgh being able to run the ball? Is it the tight ends from Pittsburgh? Or does C.J. Stroud just have a terrible game against a Pittsburgh defense that's been a little better lately?
I think it's because the Houston offense is not that good. And that, in turn, the Steelers' defense wins the battle, and Houston, can't run the ball, so they become one-dimensional, easier to defend, and that this becomes kind of like last night's game, Mark, which was, a slugfest. I mean, I'm not so sold that Houston's going to have a really good night offensively either. I mean, that's
Which
why
is funny because going over the same stats that we did for Indiana and Oregon, Pittsburgh's defense is lousy. The numbers are there. Total yards, 28th. Points, 17th. Third downs, 25th. But to your point, David, the Houston offensive numbers, none of them are that good. None of them.
And on the road, recent history, this core too, CJ Stroud and this group, they have not gotten it done on the road. They've struggled to score points. Now, granted, they played the Ravens and the Chiefs the last 2 years on the road in the divisional round, but if we're going to be wrong, Mark, I think it's because 17 may be the winning score and Houston couldn't get there.
That's the number of points that Houston allows on average, 17. Pittsburgh's just a little less than 23. We have trouble seeing either team getting much past 20. If they get past 20.
And if Pittsburgh got to 20, if Pittsburgh gets to 20 and doesn't win, I think Mike Tomlin would take 20 right now. Absolutely. I think Aaron Rodgers would take 20 right now. And they would just
Pittsburgh the last couple of weeks offensively didn't look great, but Metcalf was out. He's back tonight after the suspension for hitting the fan in Detroit. What type of difference does that make? I don't know, because Houston's pretty solid at corner.
Oh, I mean, there are some that think Stingley's the best one in the game. I mean, certainly top 3 corner. I think he's going to follow him. Certainly in the second half, if DK's making some plays lined up on the other side, I think they'll start traveling him. So,
to me, it's not Pittsburgh running the ball that they'll have to be effective with. I do think that they're going to have to find a way to get Warren the ball from Rodgers. And that be their way to get the chains moving. And you only got to do it a few times, because I think because of both teams' lack of offense, you'll see some shorter fields in this game.
I'm wondering if Pittsburgh goes double tight ends a lot. First off, you could argue tight end might be their best position on offense. And also it helps them with the 2 defensive ends, and that they maybe take advantage of Houston with tight ends down the seam. Buffalo's having to do a lot of that right now because the wide receivers are not the strength of the team, but the tight ends are better than their wide receivers.
So we both have Houston tonight. We'll see how it works out. Monday Night Football, final wild card game of a great wild card weekend thus far. The Texans and the Steelers. Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at PelicanRoofingCompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Let's talk the big differences between Floormeisters and the big box store that sells flooring. Floormeisters is family owned. They do flooring, not doors, nuts and bolts, or weed killer. They specialize in it. They know it. Floormeisters backs their installer. So if there's ever an issue, good chance the boss, TJ, will come out and make it right. Floormeister's prices beat the box stores every day of the week. When you think flooring, think Floormeisters in Naples. Floormeisters.com. Real people, real prices, real quality selection. The Floormeisters, just keeping it real.
Mark Miller for Sleep Treatment Direct. They are helping me with sleep apnea. And by helping me, I mean curing me. No more CPAP machine. No more snoring. No more tossing. No more waking up exhausted. Their expert team got me the right treatment, fast and hassle-free. If you want to feel energized and get rid of your snoring, call Sleep Treatment Direct today. 444-1741. That's 239-444-1741. Sleep Treatment Direct. sleep safe and sound.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise at Seminole Casino Hotel. We're bringing you more. With real cards and real dealers 24/7. This is the place where the action never ends. Now you can bet on your favorite team, roll the dice on craps, or spin the wheel for roulette. We've got your game. Plus, the Zigzag Girls Blackjack Pit features nonstop excitement and free drinks while you play. This is Seminole Casino Hotel, minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
This is Miller and Moulton.
Adam, I think he's rooting for the Steelers because blood is thicker than water. Left Twix, I heard about it. I made an editorial decision not to put it in the starting five, which maybe I should have, but I got to admit, it sounds like the police report completely contradicts what the guy is claiming.
Yeah, the assistant coach there.
And it sounds like Marcus Freeman had absolutely nothing to do with whatever it was that unfolded, that he had nothing to do with it, but he's being, publicly shamed because of who he is.
Yeah, basically, with the way I read it, it was his wife that was arguing with the guy, not even Freeman.
Yeah, and I thought it was Freeman's brother who was, if there was an aggressive person with the last name Freeman, it was his brother. So I didn't want to badmouth him in any way because I don't think he's done anything to deserve it. And that if he wasn't the head coach of Notre Dame, his name wouldn't be coming up at all.
And Notre Dame couldn't put out a statement basically saying he'd be fully exonerated fast enough.
Yeah, so that's why I didn't say anything. Maybe I should have, but I just don't. It really sounds like he didn't do anything to deserve to have his name in the paper. So I didn't want to give it any oxygen. I am very sensitive about that sort of thing. And I've talked about it on air before.
By the way, we've got a minute 40 here. You started to talk about the dog. I would like to hear the rest of this.
I actually brought it up at a ESPN production meeting in front of the number 3 and number 4 guy at ESPN.
You are a piece of work, David. How'd that go over?
Half the room laughed hysterically, and the other half was like, "Oh my God, oh my God." And I looked right at the executives and I said, "Do you guys know he has a dog?" I go, "Unbelievable." And I threw a bone in for the 2 sideline reporters, Lisa Salters and Laura Rutledge. I looked right at I said it out loud. I wasn't looking at the executives at the time. I said, that dog gets more airtime than the sideline reporters do.
Don't ever change.
I don't give a shit. I just don't. I don't care. I'm 60 years old. My career is what it is. It ain't going anywhere. The best is I'm pretty tight with Herb Street's spotter. Tony's a great guy. He looked right at me. He's laughing. And I mouthed it to him.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton. Text the guys what's in your mind at 21,000. That's 21000. And now, here's David Moulton.
22 minutes till we're done. We're out of here. That's it. It's over. Not doing any more. Not that there's an outcry to do more, but we're drawing a line. 4 hours is it. Miller and Moulton, millerandmoulton.com, Miller_Moulton on X. Pat Kerwin on the show tomorrow. We'll see if any coach has been fired between now and then. And obviously we'll have all the playoff matchups and who and where and when and what network and all that. The NFL should have it figured out by tomorrow.
It's that time again, nearing the end, but not quite there yet. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
We start in 1906 when the Football Rules Committee legalizes the forward pass. 1939, Timely Comics, which would become Marvel, was founded in New York. 1958, the NCAA adds the 2-point conversion to football scoring.
Ooh.
1959, Berry Gordy Jr.'s Tamla Records, later known as Motown, begins operating in Detroit. ABC debuted Batman with Adam West and Burt Ward as Robin today in 1966. 1969. Is this the biggest Super Bowl ever? I mean, for the game, Super Bowl III, Jets beating the Colts, Namath the MVP at the Orange Bowl, by the way.
And they had played the game at the Orange Bowl the year before, and the game was on turf. And then when the Jets beat the Colts, it was on grass. I think it's the most important Super Bowl, even though the merger was already happening. The first two Super Bowls, the games had not been close. The thought was the one league was inferior. I think it's the most important Super Bowl.
Okay. Today in 1971, All in the Family premieres on CBS. One little side note about that first episode, it provided people on television to hear one thing for the very first time: a toilet flush.
Yep. I Love Lucy showed what?
In the same bed, right?
They were in the same bed, and then also she had a kid. For whatever reason. I guess previous sitcoms were always the kid came with the show. You knew it from day one. This was the first time they were a couple, and then midway through that, you could actually be pregnant and have a kid. What?
The Joker by Steve Miller was number one today in 1974. Today in 75, Super Bowl IX. In New Orleans, the Steelers beat the Vikings 16-6. Franco Harris is your MVP. But when you think New Orleans and Super Bowls, you think the Superdome. This one was played at Tulane Stadium.
Yep.
81, the Reds become the last team to sign a free agent. Larry Bittner was the free agent that was the last, making the Reds the last team to sign a free agent. Also today in 81, the soap opera Dynasty premiered on ABC TV.
Well, after the success of Dallas, the other networks were like, we got to find ourselves one of these.
ABC found one in Dynasty. It was it wasn't Dallas, but it was pretty damn close.
Yes, it was.
Did very well. Congress gave George H.W. Bush the authority to wage war against Iraq today in 91. The O.J. murder trial began today in 95. Today in 2006, David Moulton may have cried. Probably not, but may have. Because they retired number 11, Mark Messier's number at MSG. 2013, they call it the Mile High Miracle. Flacco, a 70-yard pass to Jacoby Jones to tie the game, and the Ravens would beat the Broncos in overtime. 2014, True Detective made its debut on HBO and then had a couple of miserable seasons after that. 2015, Ohio State wins the Natty, beating Oregon 42-20.
The big thing was what they did in the semis. They were getting whacked by Alabama. And remember, they had Cardell Jones, third-string quarterback. They're down like 21-3, 21-6. And he and they turned it around, and they ran the ball. That was Ezekiel Elliott, didn't he have like 200-plus yards? And that made Tom Herman, by the way. That's why Tom Herman got jobs for 10 years. He was the offense coordinator calling the plays in that title game, and he had a career off it.
Tim Horton, the hockey player. You know the donut place, but he was a hockey player first. Joe Frazier, kicker Tom Dempsey, pitcher Randy Jones, actress Christy Alley, and Rush Limbaugh would have all celebrated birthdays today. A pirate and a cowboy, Bill Madlock and Drew Pearson, are both 75 today. The king of all media, Howard Stern, is 72. I think the best in-game dunker ever, and that includes Dr. J. Dominique Wilkins is 66 today. Jeff Bezos is 62. What have you done with your first 62 years? Rob Zombie, 61. Zach De La Rocha, the singer of Rage Against the Machine, is 56. Marion Hossa, 57. The D-Train, Dontrell Willis, is 44. Rashad White is 27. And Sam Laporta is 25. What did I miss, David?
The big earthquake in Haiti was today in 2010. That's it.
Well, wrong one. Let's try that button.
All right.
Time to see life a little bit differently. Here's Mark Miller with the good, the bad, and the ugly. What do you got, Mark?
By the way, I do want to, Ryan in our Twitch chat room nominates Vince Carter as best in-game dunker.
Okay.
That's up there.
That is. But, I mean, most people think Dr. J, and he was amazing.
He was.
Especially if you got some of the ABA stuff. But what Neek did on a nightly basis, and we didn't see it. The Hawks weren't ever on TV.
No, TBS. That'd be it. You'd get some Hawks games on TBS, but not many. They were never good enough to get the CBS game on Saturday or Sunday. His dunks were ferocious, too.
Yes, they were.
I mean, they scared you. They were so fierce.
David, the good is for you today, but we go to Macomb County in Michigan, where a man who has played the same lottery numbers for 20 years.
Tell me he won.
He won.
Yes!
Nearly $33 million.
Wow!
So it can happen to you too, David Moulton.
Unbelievable.
For those that don't know, David's late father-in-law played his numbers forever. And he's been gone a long time.
It'll be a quarter century in 4 months.
Because he's been gone before you and I started working together. And since then, David and his wife have played the same numbers. So for 50 years, basically, these lottery numbers have, wait for it, sucked.
Bupkis. Zip, zilch, nada.
For the bad, we go to Germany in the Penny supermarket, where 50 sheep escaped from their owner while being herded and ended up in a supermarket in Germany. Police confirmed the incident. The sheep broke away from a larger flock and made it into the store. Fortunately, they were reunited with the rest of the flock.
And it feels so good.
And for the ugly, we go to North Fort Myers, where a drunk driver crashed into several vehicles and injured 2 over the weekend. He was driving very fast. He hit a car, then he hit 5 or 6 more, and then took off running. Fortunately, police were able to catch up with him, and he was apprehended on site. That is the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, January the 12th, and it's brought to you by the Cape Coral Police Department. New jobs available, not only for new police officers, but other jobs. Great pay, great benefits, overtime opportunities available. For all information, go to capecops.com. That's capecops.com.
There is no college basketball tonight that involves ranked teams. None. The new weekly rankings will come out today. Expect a change at number 2 because Michigan lost to Wisconsin over the weekend. So expect Arizona to be 1, but Iowa State to move up to number 2. Be curious how far down Michigan drops. Where do they put them amongst the one-loss schools?
I'd have them right at the top.
I believe Nebraska and Vandy are still unbeaten, aren't they?
Nebraska had another big comeback against Indiana over the weekend. They are a gritty little team.
So I'll be curious how far Michigan drops there. NBA, 6 games tonight. The one that's nationally televised on Peacock is Celtics Pacers, 7:30 Eastern.
And the Pacers suck.
Yes, they do. They just set a franchise record for 13 losses in a row. 9 NHL games, both Florida teams in action. Mark, this is how crazy the Eastern Conference is in the NHL. The Florida Panthers are in Buffalo to play the Sabres. And Buffalo has more points than do the Panthers.
And they're favored. Don't you have to bet the Panthers on the road tonight?
I will say they've had a tough couple games on this road trip. But yes.
I know, but if I'm going to lose money, as we like to say, if we're going to lose the $20, don't you lose it betting the Panthers tonight?
Yes, you do. And the Lightning, they still have that winning streak, right? 8 in a row?
They're killing it.
They're in Philly to face the Flyers. 2 of the 9 NHL games tonight.
Your Rangers home against the Kraken, and my Wings are home against Carolina. And I bring that one up because Detroit has added an element of snark. They're retiring, finally, Sergei Fedorov's 91.
Yeah, what took him so long?
Because he had an issue with the ownership when he got, it's a long story, and it's a terrible look for Detroit, but they finally got it right. But the irony of this is thick, because it was the Carolina Hurricanes who, when Fedorov was about to become a restricted free agent, threw a pile of money in a contract that was very top-heavy for Fedorov, thinking that there was no way that Detroit would re-sign their star.
Right.
But they did. So the fact that the Red Wings are retiring Fedorov's jersey against Carolina is rich.
Yep. That's not by accident.
No, it is not.
That is a middle finger that has lasted 30 years.
And Miller and Moulton appreciate it.
Absolutely, we do. Absolutely. That's a grudge, and we're in favor of it.
Yes, we are. Very much so. So good on you, Detroit. All you Wings fans out there may want to watch the ceremony.
By the way, could get very ugly at Madison Square Garden tonight. The Rangers' last game, they lost 10-2 in Boston. They're
and it took them until the third getting their behinds kicked before they showed any fight in the damn game.
Yeah, the fan base is not happy.
Nationally televised game at 1:00 on ABC too.
Right. And they've been awful at home. If their performance They have one of those efforts tonight. It could be as nasty a home atmosphere that the Rangers have experienced in 40 years, to be honest. So that'll be very interesting tonight at Madison Square. All right. 8:15 kick. Obviously, I mean, the pregame coverage, I think, starts in 8 minutes, but Texans, Steelers.
Pregame coverage.
I
hope everybody caught that.
Not that far off. I think NFL Live starts at like 3:00, but it's not as long as the Super Bowl pregame, but it's in the area code. Texans, are we going with 2.5, 3? What are we going with?
I've got it at 3 right now.
Okay. Texans 3-point favorites on the road. Would this be a fourth road team winning tonight?
Believe so. I'm going to go 16-9 Houston.
So you're going under.
I'm going under and 6 field goals in the game.
We're both laying the points. The over-under is 38.5, by the way, which for an NFL game these days is staggeringly low. Hey, enjoy your Monday. We'll talk tomorrow. Miller and Moulton.
Your roof is your home's first line of defense. At Pelican Roofing of Florida, Ronnie John and their team bring years of experience to protect what matters most, your family and your business. From residential repairs to large-scale commercial roofing, we deliver honest work, fair pricing, and quality you can trust. An upgrade on your roof can lower your insurance costs. Don't wait for a leak to turn into a disaster. Call the experts at Pelican Roofing today. 1-866-9-PELICAN. That's 1-866-9-PELICAN. Online at pelicanroofingcompany.com. CCC 1332512.
Lee County Economic Development will release its 2025 annual report on February 5th at their annual meeting. It's a powerful look at our local economy, highlighting key data, emerging trends, and performance from the past year. The report covers major industries, workforce initiatives, business growth, and partnerships that drive Lee County forward. For more information about the annual meeting and the Economic Development Office, visit LeeCountyBusiness.com. Lee County, building a better community through business, sports, and tourism.
When Glass Doctor replaces your windshield, we don't just send you on your way, we send you off protected. Your local Glass Doctor includes the industry's only 12-month windshield protection plan at no extra cost. That means unlimited chip repairs and even a one-time replacement if needed. High-quality service backed by real peace of mind, right here in your neighborhood.
Glass Doctor, Glass Doctor. Call the Glass Doctor, we fix your pains. Oh, yeah.
Exclusions apply. See your local Glass Doctor for details.
American Paint Supplies, for nearly 30 years, is your one-stop shop for all your coating needs. If you are a designer, a contractor, a professional painter, or a weekend warrior, American Paint Supplies is the place where experts go to get expert solutions. At 6100 Shirley Street in Naples off of Pine Ridge, American Paint Supplies delivers the best solutions with the best products with the best support. Meet Gene and his team today at American Paint Supplies. Call 239-566-2700. That's 566-2700 or online at AmericanPaintSupplies.net.
Cape Coral Police Department is growing, and they want you to be a part of it. They're hiring new officers. Starting pay is between $74,000 and $90,000, depending on your experience. And with a $10,000 hiring bonus, you could be making $100,000. Enjoy paid holidays, off-duty details, plenty of OT opportunities. They're also hiring dispatchers and professional staff. So go to CapeCops.com. CapeCops.com. Be brave, be best, be Cape.
Play all night, play all day. Experience more in paradise. At Seminole Casino Hotel, we're bringing you more. With the newest slots, action-packed table games, sports betting, the hottest entertainment, and a variety of award-winning restaurants. Expect more with live craps, roulette, and blackjack 24/7. And over 1,400 of the most popular slot machines. This is the place where paradise never ends. This is Seminole Casino Hotel. Minutes away from more. For more information, visit moreinparadise.com. Must be 21 to play slots and table games. Concerned about your gambling? Call or text 1-833-PLAY-WISE.
This is Miller and Moulton.